Georgia. Capacity crowd of more than 71,000 on hand for the New England Patriots. 2 up and 9 down against the Atlanta Falcons, who have a record of 4-7. And hello again, I'm Jim Lampley along with Ahmad Rashad. Ahmad, neither team in playoff contention. Both teams, at least to our eyes, headed in different psychological directions.
That's true, because the New England Patriots spent the first nine weeks of the season not able to win a game. Then, for the last 2 weeks, Scott Zolak has really revitalized this team, brought them back. He has been the catalyst that has turned this team around. And talking to guys before the game, they feel like they are going to pick up where they left off last week and win today.
But as for the Falcons, a playoff team a year ago, they're in a division where the 49ers have 9 wins, the Saints have 8, and they are realists.
They are. They had no illusions of trying to make it to the Pro Bowl. We were out at practice the other day. I'm making it to the playoffs nonetheless. And they were saying that, well, the only thing we can do now is try to make it to the Pro Bowl because we have no chance of making it to the playoffs. Another thing about this team is I was in the locker room before the game, and they felt like if they didn't win the game today, this could be the turning point in their season. They would go right down the tubes.
And if they do go south, there will be pressure on the man in black. Jerry Glanville, head coach of the Falcons, in his 3rd year here after 5 with the Houston Oilers. Playoffs in 4 of the past 6 years, but there's pressure on him already here, Ahmad.
Here is a man that lives life way out on the edge. He's the kind of guy you either love him or hate him. And if you're winning games, you love him. But they haven't been winning a lot of games this year, so I don't think there's a lot of people that love him.
On the other side of the field, of course, Dante Scarnecchia continues to serve as the team staff spokesman. In the absence of head coach Dick McPherson, after surgery for diverticulitis, went home on Thursday, maybe watching the game today. Opening kickoff from the Patriots to the Falcons is downed in the end zone by number 38, Keith Jones of Atlanta. And here's the starting quarterback for the Falcons, Billy Joe Tolliver, 55% on the season. Became the starter 3 weeks ago after Chris Miller went down with a knee injury. Chris Miller, who's the heart of the franchise, offensively is out for the rest of the season. Falcon offensive line anchored by a couple of veterans at the tackles, Mike Ken and Chris Hinton, many Pro Bowls between them. Bill Fralick still active at right guard. The red gun offense, Tolliver pulling the trigger, rookie running back Tony Smith, and the 4 wide receivers, Risen and Haynes on the outside, Hill and Pritchard in the slots. As dangerous a group of 4 as you'll find on any team in the National Football League. First down from the 20-yard line for the Falcons, who last week were beaten soundly by the Bills and out of the game early. Deep on the first play, intended for Risen, overthrown, out of bounds. It'll be 2nd down 10. David Poole on the coverage for the New England Patriots. And we take a look at the Patriots defense as they stand in there against the red gun. Front 6 in what will be 5 or 6 defensive backs all the time. Agnew, Goad, Williams, and Tippett, normally a linebacker, will be down. Brown and Howard are the 2 linebackers. The 5 defensive backs, Poole, Hurst, Gordon, and Robbins, the regular starters. Add rookie cornerback Rod Smith to make it 5. When they go to 6 defensive backs, there will be yet another rookie corner in there, Dion Lambert, replacing Vincent Brown, one of the linebackers who will come off the field. On 2nd down and 10, the Falcons work against the 5 defensive back alignment for the Patriots. And the throw is to slot man Mike Pritchard, who was open, but the throw was too wide to the inside. It'll be 3rd down 10 for Tolliver and the Falcons, and the natives are getting restless already here in Atlanta.
When you have the red gun offense, you need a very accurate quarterback. Chris Miller was just that. When he went down, the thing that's happened to this offense is Billy Joe Tolliver just not being very accurate. The receiver was open. You got to hit that pass. And this sort of their whole attitude, the Atlanta Falcons in their offense, is it's always 2nd down and 10. Always.
Patriots go to 6 defensive backs. Falcons have converted about 35% of their 3rd downs on the season. Tolliver with plenty of time. Risen falls down. Falcons sideline wants a flag, won't get it. It'll be 4th down 10, punting situation for the Falcons.
Looked like a little bit of pass interference to me. You saw the defender run right up on the heels. It's Maurice Hurst trying to cover Andre Risen. Risen with just an output. Now, as he tries to break for the ball, you see Maurice Hurst run up on the back of his heel right there, just clipped him. But a lot of times the officials say if the ball was not catchable, there is no flag.
Helps to have a good relationship with the officials when that happens. Bullhaig to kick it away for Atlanta. He saw the numbers on him. It's Walter Stanley who will take the punt at the 31-yard line for New England, and Stanley picks his way across the 40 to the 41-yard line. Knocked down by Elbert Shelley of the Falcons. 49-yard punt, 11-yard return. Good field position for New England as Scott Zolak prepares to come onto the field. 2 wins, no losses as a starter. Hugh Millen has been deactivated for today's game, available only as an emergency third quarterback. So here is the offensive front for the Patriots. Harlow, Redding, Chilton, Williams, and Chung struggled through most of the season, near perfect the last 2 weeks. Vaughn gets a third start at running back. The rookie has been brilliant in the past 2 weeks. Stevens now more of a blocker at fullback. The key receiver is Irving Pryor, number 80. On first down, Vaughn gets the call, and it's no secret to either team, Ahmad. The Patriots will try to establish their running game early against the Falcon defense. And let's take a look at those defenders for Atlanta. Tim Green made the stop on first down from his right end position. Gardner and Gann along the front with him. The linebackers Tippins, Solomon, Tuggle, and Connor. Jesse Tuggle makes more tackles than any other player in the league. And in the defensive backfield for the Falcons, you have McKyer, Sanders, Donaldson, and Case. Sanders will be matched against Irving Pryor much of the day. Talent against talent. Second down 5 after a 5-yard pickup on first down for Vaughn, and this time the rookie gets outside and picks up about 3. There was no hole there, but John Vaughn got 3 before being knocked out of bounds by Tim McKyer.
It'll be no secret what the New England Patriots are going to try to do is run the ball. After watching the films of the Buffalo Bills all last week just running all over the Atlanta Falcons, I guarantee you, in making up that game plan, these fellas came in here and figured if Buffalo can run on them, we will run on them too. And Leonard Russell is activated, and that will also help in this running attack for the New England Patriots.
Leonard Russell, who had nearly 1,000 yards as the AFC Offensive Rookie of the Year a year ago, may for the moment have lost his starting job to John Vaughn because Vaughn has been so good. On third down and short out of the shotgun, Zolak takes the sack, unable to release the ball. Tim Green was in there, and Green appears to be shaken up after getting the sack along with Darian Connor, number 56.
One thing that Jerry Glanville's defense will do is they will blitz at you every single time. It's an all or nothing kind of thing, and they will just keep coming. And for a rookie quarterback like Scott Zolak, he's going to have to adjust to this kind of a defense because this is the way they're going to come at him every single play. Really rushing in on that quarterback, and Zolak does a smart job of not throwing the ball away and going ahead taking that sack. What they want to do is force you to throw downfield, and now you got somebody like Deion Sanders who not only can intercept the ball but also can run with it after the interception.
Well, as we saw on the replay, Ahmad, Tim Green was falling on top of Darian Connor as Connor collected the sack, and it is Green who has not gotten up. Let's take a look at number 99 coming up the middle.
Coming right up the middle, you'll see just a collision right there, and feet or legs getting all tangled up, and hard to tell what actually happened.
As he twisted with his right foot planted, it could conceivably have been the right knee or the right hip, but rather than speculate further, we'll just wait and see. We'll bring you back to the Georgia Dome in a moment. 13:07 as you see to go in the first quarter. Both teams have possessed the ball once already, and Tim Green got up and walked off the field under his own power. So we have to assume for the moment that Green is not so badly hurt that he won't be able to go back into the game.
He's now headed
Yep, he's walking off the field, isn't he?
On his way to the locker room, probably for an adjustment because he's walking fine.
Sean McCarthy on to kick it away for New England. Number 28 deep to receive is Tony Smith, the rookie running back for the Falcons. Smith is standing at his 15-yard line. And McCarthy boots it high, and Smith makes no fair catch call and elects to run it back from the 15. Gets past the 20 to about the 22-yard line. 7-yard return after a 46-yard punt. Number 91, Chris Gannon, the deep snapper for the Patriots, was downfield to make the stop. And tonight, a special edition of Secret Service following the game, followed by eyewitness video at 8 o'clock. And Joseph Wambaugh, Jury of One, at 9 o'clock Eastern Time. Tonight's entertainment fair on NBC. Told that Tim Green has a hyperextended right elbow. Return uncertain at this point. Tolliver on first down for the Falcons, who had 3 completions and out on their first possession. This time they start with the run, and Steve Broussard in the game at tailback in the red gun formation is knocked out of bounds by Tim Goad after a pickup of about 3. It'll be second down. Make it a gain of 4 and call it 2nd and 6.
Because of this red gun offense, you always expect this Atlanta Falcon team to throw the ball, and then all of a sudden they hand off to a little strong, powerful runner in Steve Broussard, who picks up very good yardage on that around the left-end play.
Well, I guess we better go with it right now. Steve Broussard, one of only 2 men in Pac-10 conference history to lead the league in rushing and receiving in the same year. Ahmad, who was the other?
You know what? It was a guy named Bobby Moore. A fine player out of the University of Oregon.
And the former Bobby Moore now gets to talk about himself. On second down, the reverse to Pritchard coming out of the slot. And the Patriots read it beautifully. Chris Singleton, number 55, on the field at linebacker. Former number 1 draft choice for the Patriots in 1980. Had an interception return for a touchdown against the Colts 2 weeks ago, starting to pay dividends.
This red gun offense this is Mike Pritchard, who is an excellent runner. He plays wide receiver on this particular team, but he is an excellent runner once he carries the ball. But this offense is not an offense where you want to do all that kind of stuff. It's the kind of offense that wants to put pressure on your defense in the secondary. You want to always make them think that you may throw the ball deep at any time. That's what makes those kinds of plays go.
Richard lost a yard and a half. It'll be third down 6 as Tolliver gets away from Singleton, looks downfield and completes the number 85, Drew Hill. Hill, one of the better slot receivers ever to play in one of these multiple receiver formations, has a 26-yard gain on a good throw from Tolliver.
Drew Hill is one of the finest possession receivers in the National Football League. He also can run deep. He is the guy that all the other receivers look to. He has such experience. He runs great routes, has great hands, and he's a little teeny guy. He's not very big at all. As you can see, the only player in NFL history to gain over 1,000 yards 4 times after the age of 30, and still going strong.
A Jerry Glanville favorite signed away from Houston in Plan B this year. So it's a first down for the Falcons right at the midfield stripe. And Tolliver wants to go deep to Andre Rison. And Hurst was right there with perfect coverage. Ball might have hung just a little bit in the air.
This is the red gun offense. This is what you want to do. You want to always stretch the defense vertically. And when you got an Andre Rison, once you just throw that ball up there, the chances of him catching are very high. You see Rison just running a straight flat-out pattern on Maurice Hurst. The ball hangs just a little bit. Rison, very good coverage by Maurice Hurst, but Maurice knows that will not be the only time that he'll be going deep on him. 6 defensive backs in the game now on second down 10. Rison having a spectacular season to go with 2 previous spectacular seasons. He's one of the best in the business, flat out. The give is to number 34, Broussard, and Broussard breaks a tackle behind the line of scrimmage, as you saw, and wound up gaining about 2. Andre Tippett ultimately making the stop for the Patriots. Tippett came into the game hampered by a hamstring, was questionable right up until yesterday, but if you had to bet on any player in the league to make it to the starting bell despite an injury, he's about as good a choice as any. Yeah, I talked to Andre just before the game. He said the only thing he worries about that hamstring is if he gets platooned and he has to run back and forth to the sideline. Other than that, if they leave him out there, he said he can play. Third down and a short 8 for the first down. They need to get it just inside the 40-yard line from the 47. Motion brings 3 wide receivers to the left side. Tolliver goes deep to the right. And David Poole, facing away from the ball and toward Michael Haynes, comes up with the flag. If you want to avoid the flag, you've got to turn and look at the ball. David Poole, when you got receivers like 7, first down. When you have receivers like the receivers that the Atlanta Falcons have, you don't have the luxury of turning back looking at the ball. You have to look at that receiver the entire time. David Poole, who has a book on all receivers, says this week his book was full up because of all the receivers that the Falcons had. But right there at the end, not playing the ball, face guarding, and obviously pass interference. Easy call for the official. 31 yards on the penalty for the Falcons. First down, 10 yards to go at the 15-yard line. Scoring opportunity for Tolliver
and Atlanta early in the game. Tony Smith. Pickup of about 4 down to the 11-yard line. Vincent Brown there to make the tackle for the Patriots.
This is where it's been tough on the Atlanta Falcons when they get down in this area trying to punch the ball across for a score. It puts pressure on a lot of people. You don't have a lot of room to get open. It puts pressure on the wide receivers to get open and also on the quarterback because he's got to be accurate with all of his throws.
Falcons have only 1 rushing touchdown this year. The Patriots, incidentally, enjoyed the same distinction coming into last week's game against the Jets and then promptly put 3 rushing touchdowns on the board in the first half.
That's the thing about those statistics. They're always subject to change.
Second down, 6 yards to go for the first down after the 4-yard gain on first down by Smith. Option play. Tolliver keeps the football and steps inside for a pickup of about 3. Tim Goad from the defensive tackle position rolled along the line of scrimmage to make the stop for the pass.
That play there will not keep you healthy. I remember when I was in Minnesota, if they had a play like that, they send in the backup quarterback to run it because you can really get leveled trying to run that option at this level of the business. Didn't fool the Patriots.
And NFL quarterbacks have little time in practice to get into the intricacies of reading the inside shoulder of the defensive tackle, or all the things that you have to do to make the option play work right. 9th play of the drive for Atlanta now. 3rd down, 3 yards to go. The setback is Rashad, and Tolliver may have drawn the Pats offside with the count, and Broussard takes the football into the end zone anyway. So just as you said, Ahmad, statistics.
Defense offside. Penalty is declined. Touchdown.
Second rushing touchdown of the year for Atlanta. First for Broussard.
Broussard had been getting a little heat from the coaching staff about his running north and south. But right here, he makes an excellent play. Very nice cut right there. 2 nice cuts. Gets into the secondary and just powers his way into the end zone. Very nice run by Broussard.
Norm Johnson on to try to add the extra point for Atlanta. One of the better kickers in the league, and Johnson knocks it through, and it is 7-0 favor of the Falcons. 7:41 to go in period number 1. Atlanta on top. The tickets are all sold today in the Georgia Dome, but there are no shortage of empty seats as the Falcons have a long tradition for no-shows here in Atlanta. Kickoff by Norm Johnson, Walter Stanley at the goal line, and Stanley has the football across the 15 to the 17-yard line, won't make it to the 20. Good kick coverage by Elbert Shelley, reserve strong safety. 19-yard return. New England with the ball when we come back. Bring you back where the kick will go over because of an offside penalty against Joe Fishback of the New England Patriots. We haven't had a chance yet to introduce, or excuse me, of the Atlanta Falcons. Haven't had a chance yet to introduce you to referee Jerry Austin, but there he is. And soon, of course, you'll get a chance to hear him speak. He nods in acknowledgement of that. Yes, Jerry, you'll speak soon.
Jerry Austin in control of this football game.
But apparently not aware that we're ready for the ball to be kicked off.
No, he's getting camera time. This is not every day you get to just stand there a long time.
On the first kickoff, number 29 was offside. It's a 5-yard penalty and re-kick.
Casually delivered. There's the man who incurred the penalty, Fishback, one of various reserve safeties on the Falcon roster. Here's Norm Johnson, many years an outstanding kicker with the Seattle Seahawks. And deep to receive for New England are Walter Stanley and John Vaughn. It'll be Stanley to the bottom of your screen and Vaughn to the top. Johnson kicks from the 30-yard line, high and deep. And Stanley takes it at the 5. And hit by his own man, Stanley drops the football, but then a Patriot jersey gets on top of it. Number 34, Kevin Turner, the reserve fullback, was the man who covered the ball after Stanley had it knocked out by Elbert Shelley, downfield making the play for the Falcons.
John Vaught, the lead blocker, was a little bit too far ahead. You see John Vaught, number 24, he's all the way out of the picture. And now you see the Falcons sort of converging on Walter Stanley. The lead blocker's got to stay there and wait for the guy so he can pick off one of those guys and give the runner a chance to make a break.
And reserve fullback Sam Gash, number 33, was the player who, trying so hard to block, managed to hammer Walter Stanley and inadvertently knock the football free. On first down, Zolak gives to John Vaughn, and Vaughn shows his cutback style as he slices up the middle for a 9-yard run before Scott Case makes the stop for the Falcons.
Talking to Dick Curry before the game, he said this offensive line has really come around the last couple of weeks, and they are continuing here. Look at this huge hole that John Vaughn has a chance to run through there. Great block by Stevens, and then Vaughn just does the rest with powerful running. We saw him running last week. He is a very excellent running back in this particular offense, and the offensive line doing an excellent job.
The Bills annihilated the Falcons on the ground. The Patriots want to do the same. Zolak throws on second and short. Or no, it was a first down. They gave Vaughn credit for 10 yards on the opening carry. And Case. And let's go to Bob Costas in the studio in New York.
Bengals to punt at home. They try trickery, snapping it to the up man, Eric Ball. He doesn't have it, and before Ball can get his bearings, Charles Davenport scoops it up and goes 32 yards for the TD. The Steelers, with their record of 8-3, leading at Cincinnati over the Bengals, 7-0 in the first. Back to Lampley and Rashad.
All right, Bob, thanks very much. Double tight end set for the New England Patriots on second down 6 after a 4-yard gain on first down. And this time the draw play is smelled out by the Falcon defense, and Mike Gann is there to stop Vaughn for a loss of about a yard.
One of the things that Jerry Glanville has managed to do over the years as a coach is really get his players to play hard. When he was the defensive coordinator here for the Atlanta Falcons, I can remember playing against his team, and I mean, they were a swarm. They never look at the scoreboard. They just go out and play as hard as they can, and it starts in the locker room. They've got loud rock music, rap music, getting these guys ready to play, and that's what he takes a lot of pride in, that his players have never quit. Of course, getting beat the way they got beat last week, some may question that.
Third down for New England. Zolak was sacked on his first passing try. This time delivers the hot read to John Stevens in the flat, and Stevens unable to hold on to the ball. Mo Gardner, the nose tackle, was the man who came up the middle to pressure Zolak and caused the hurried throw.
One thing a quarterback can never do is acknowledge the rush. They can't look at it. You have to keep looking downfield. You see Zolak takes his eyes from downfield and looks at one of the rushers and not able to throw the ball. That's the toughest thing for a quarterback to do, is to stand in that pocket, continue to look down the field, and not acknowledge the rush. That's like walking across a freeway and not paying any attention to the traffic.
Second punt of the game for Sean McCarthy as the Patriots get one first down via the Vaughn run and then sputter. Tony Smith deep to receive the punt, low and easily returned. Smith outside the 30, across the 40, running room across midfield, knocked down across the 45 to the 43-yard line. Roger Brown, reserve safety man, made the stop for New England. 38-yard punt, 30-yard return. Great field position for Atlanta when we come back. And it's 56 seconds still to go in the first quarter. The New England Patriots, who were red hot on offense in the first half against the Jets last week, have sputtered badly so far here. And the Falcons, with the help of a long pass interference call against David Poole, working against Michael Haynes, have gotten a touchdown run from Steve Broussard of 8 yards to lead 7-0 in the first quarter. Now Atlanta with the football for the third time from the 42-yard line of New England after the 30-yard punt return. And on first down, Poole giving a cushion to Haynes, and Haynes has a 10-yard pickup and another first down.
Now that one deep route that Haynes ran earlier created this situation here, because once a receiver runs a deep route on you, you got to back off and give him that underneath pattern. So Tolliver just backs back and takes the 10-yarder. They should have that all day, because once the defense knows you're going to go deep, you can't play up tight on any of these receivers. They're all speed burners.
Atlanta offensive coordinator June Jones, the architect of this offense, has it down to a numerical science. He can tell you at the beginning of the season how many catches the receivers at all 4 positions ought to wind up with at the end of the year, and he'll be pretty close if they stay healthy. On first down 10, Broussard is dropped in the backfield as Chris Singleton again penetrates from his linebacker position for New England.
You can see that the Falcons are much better off throwing the ball than they are running the ball. Here, you see Broussard not even able to get up to the line of scrimmage. A great play by Singleton, who just comes right down the line of scrimmage and makes the tackle. When you have a single back offense, there's nobody in front of you to pick off that first defender.
Singleton starting to play the way the Patriots hoped he would when he was the 8th overall pick in the 1990 draft. That interception return for a touchdown against the Colts seems to have rejuvenated him. Second down, 12 yards to go after the 2-yard loss on first down. Tolliver with the quick throw to Risen, and Risen splits the defenders down to the 15-yard line.
Andre Rison makes an adjustment on this ball that you will see very few receivers ever do. He runs a little hitch pattern. The ball's thrown in front of him, and rather than stop and let it go, watch him. Here's the hitch. The ball's out in front of him. See him continue on and make that catch, and then with a great run after the catch. He's incredible. When I think about the top receivers in the league, first of all, I think about Jerry Rice. But right after that, I think of Andre Rison. He can do it all.
8 touchdowns, as you can see, tied for the NFC lead with Sterling Sharp. Tolliver, 3 of 7 for 57 yards now. And the long throw that resulted in the pass interference call. Next Sunday, NBC Sports presents more exciting NFL football doubleheader action. I'll get this right. Beginning at 12:30 p.m. Eastern Time with NFL Live. Then it's AFC East action, most of you seeing the New York Jets taking on Jim Kelly and the Bills, the team with the AFC's best record at 9-2. Some of you will see the Colts tackling these Patriots. In the second half of the doubleheader, most of you will see a battle between 2 of the NFL's premier teams. When Dan Marino and the Miami Dolphins collide with Steve Young and the San Francisco 49ers. Check your local listings for the game in your area. And there's a look at June Jones, the offensive coordinator, who has now installed this offense at 3 different NFL franchises.
And he has been successful at all 3. June Jones, one of the young, up-and-coming, and soon to be a head coach. He's the assistant head coach here. But he has this offense down, like you said, Jim, to a science. He knows exactly where they want to put the ball every single time. He said the thing that they miss is actually having somebody like Chris Miller to pull the trigger, but they also have, he feels like they're not too bad off with Tolliver.
Pritchard in motion, now stops and holds his position. Tony Smith is the running back. And the Falcons unable to make a dent at the line of scrimmage as again, number 55, Chris Singleton, is there to make the play for New England. And there's Chris Miller.
From the University of Oregon, one of the fine fellow Fighting Ducks. I talked to him before the game. He had a cruciate injury on his knee, but he said he's going to start to jog next week. He won't play anymore this year, but he said his knee feels fine. Oregon always puts out those fine quarterbacks.
Don't they, though? Jerry Glanville says that one thing Chris Miller shares in common with his Oregon predecessor, Dan Fouts, is extreme accuracy on the long throws.
They have the ability to hold in there. You got to stand in there and throw the ball.
Second down, and it is Broussard with the football. And Steve Broussard running hard today. Gets it down to the 10-yard line. Again, Singleton on the tackle for New England.
The New England Patriots, in talking to Dick Corey, one of the things he was really concerned about was their Falcons getting out to a big lead and then totally throwing their whole game plan off, because now they'd be in a situation where there'd be a lot of pressure on Scott Zolak, who would have to throw the ball. They want to try to keep the Falcons in check, not let them get a couple touchdowns ahead, and then feel like they'd have a better chance of being successful running the ball against them.
So this becomes a 3rd down 7 play of considerable significance for New England. Big difference between 10-0 and 14-0 at this stage of the game. 6th play of the drive. Tolliver, plenty of time, and it's caught between defenders in the end zone by Drew Hill. 10-yard touchdown for the Falcons. Maurice Hurst unable to make a play on the ball, and he appeared to be in perfect position.
Drew Hill as good as a receiver. I'm telling you, he runs routes so perfectly well. Watch the concentration on this ball. He sees Hurst in front of him, but watch him go up and then watch his feet come down. There's one. There's the other one.
Oh.
That is just excellent.
What a play.
Excellent.
What a play. So Billy Joe Tolliver has his first touchdown pass of the day, and the Falcons almost casually breeze to a 14-0 lead in the first 14 minutes of the game.
They felt comfortable. We talked to Jerry Glanville yesterday. He said we always play well at home. And this team coming down here, they felt like this is a team that they could beat. I'm sure that on the other side of the field, having those 2 weeks of success, New England's going to have to regroup right away. Because I'm sure those 9 weeks of losing start to creep back into the front of your mind when you get behind 14-0 in the first quarter.
Well, one thing about Glanville's team, they respond well to bad beatings. They have bounced back every time they've been blown out in the last couple of years. Here's another look, Ahmad.
Billy Joe Tolliver with a very nice touch pass here, and a great catch and control by Drew Hill. That's your 13 years in the league. He has not slowed down yet. He can play, looks like he can play another 13. Just an excellent receiver. They have it all in terms of receivers on this Atlanta Falcon team. They got the speed burners. They got the possession route receivers. They have everything that you can imagine in terms of receiving.
6-play drive, 42 yards, 3 minutes 56 seconds. Still 1 minute to go in the first quarter. And the Falcons have a 14-0 lead, which is going to put a lot of pressure on Scott Zolak. Johnson's kick taken by Walter Stanley. And Stanley again can't get it back to the 20. As for the third consecutive kickoff, the Falcons get outstanding downfield coverage. And again, number 37, Elbert Shelley, is there to lead it, along with cornerback Bruce Pickens, number 39.
Special teams is all desire. And that's the kind of frenzy that Jerry Glanville builds up on his special teams. They've always been good.
Well, you talked about Glanville's style and personality. As coaches go, he is about as much one of the guys as you can possibly be, wouldn't you say?
I think that if you're a veteran player, he's the kind of guy that you really want to play for because he puts it all on you. You are the one that has to go out there and play. He's not a guy that has a lot of rules and very strict and that kind of thing. But, you know, if you're a veteran and you can play, then you can be successful playing for Glanville.
Zolak trips, trying to get away from center Eugene Chilton. Jesse Solomon is the first one across to touch him, but the play was effectively over after Zolak couldn't disengage himself from the center.
Well, he just got his foot caught. That's one of the things. If you don't work a lot with the center, you got to get your feet out of the way. It's not the center's job to make sure that he doesn't step on your feet. It's your job to make sure their feet are out of the way. And I'm sure that, you know, having not taken a lot of snaps in the course of the year, he's just not used to playing a lot.
Loss of 3 yards. It'll be second down, 13 yards to go. Ball at the 16. Stevens, or make it Turner, is the setback behind Zolak. And Zolak gets away from pressure. Flag down behind the line of scrimmage. It will be an illegal block against Reggie Redding, who was holding on to try to protect his quarterback against Oliver Barnett, number 72. Barnett in the game replacing Tim Green, who went out with a hyperextended elbow, gets pressure up the middle. Let's see what Jerry Austin has to say.
You hit it right on the head, Jim, trying to protect his quarterback.
Holding number 70. Penalties declined. Third down.
You watch Reggie Redding here. His man had just gotten behind him, and the only thing he could do is try to hold him to keep Zolak from getting crunched. You see, Redding has got him around the throat, got him in a throat hole.
And as ignoble as it looked, Ahmad tells us that's a noble hold.
It is. You want to protect your quarterback.
Quarter ends. Will be fullback Kevin Turner carrying the ball. He gets it across the 5 to about the 7. It'll be third down. Or no, it'll be fourth down and 21 yards to go now. And Sean McCarthy will come on to kick for the third time for New England. Tony Smith stands back near the 40-yard line for Atlanta, but the Falcons will have another chance to get the ball in great field position. That makes the red gun offense awfully hard for New England to handle. Patriots trying to stay in contention here and not fall behind 21-0 early in the second quarter, which would just about write fini to their plans for the day. Smith gets the football at the 42 and again finds a hole up the middle, across the 40, down to the 32-yard line. Chris Gannon finally made the stop, the punt snapper. Second time that he has made the stop. 26-yard return off the 48-yard punt. Let's go to Bob Costas in New York.
And let's look in on the action at the Superdome in New Orleans, Jim. It'll be Bobby Hebert behind very good protection. They're going to snap the ball. Oh, yes, here it is. Finally, they do. And Hebert throws to Quinn early for a 32-yard gain. Nice outstretched catch down on the 1-yard line. Dalton Hilliard took it across from there. They're early in the second quarter. Battle of 8-3 teams. Saints 7, Dolphins nothing.
And the way the New Orleans defense looked against Washington, 7-0 for some teams would be the equivalent of 21-0. But the Dolphins can strike at any time. Meanwhile, here, the Falcons have sensational field position to begin from the 31-yard line of New England. Tolliver overthrows Steve Broussard in the flat. It'll be second down 10.
And Vincent Brown, the outside linebacker for the New England Patriots, number 59, had that play pretty much smelled out. Had Broussard caught that ball, he was looking at a headache from this man. Look at them arms on Vincent Brown. He looks like your legs, Jim. See how big his arms are? Huge.
Are you suggesting my legs are a little fat?
He is a big, strong man.
Number 2 draft choice in '88 out of Mississippi Valley State. That's the same college that produced Jerry Rice. Second down 10. Falcons lead 14-0 already, and they have made it look easy, as New England has not been able to handle, particularly the outside receivers, Haynes and Rison. On the second down run, Chris Singleton is again there to make a tackle for New England.
When this offense of the Falcons is clicking, it's unstoppable. There is always going to be somebody open. And I think maybe trying to keep the pressure a little bit off of Billy Joe Tolliver, they're trying to run the ball a little bit. But once they open up and start throwing the ball, with those kind of receivers they have, it's impossible to cover all of them.
Now Broussard, who carried the football, goes out. Keith Jones replaces him at running back. On third down, 8 yards to go. They need to get the football to the 21-yard line. Plenty of protection for Tolliver. Underneath, and too far underneath, is Andre Rison. He'll be stopped short of the first down as the New England defenders reacted well after the ball was thrown. David Hauer from linebacker going back to make the stop.
Andre Rison, an excellent runner after he catches the ball, trying to make something happen. When he caught the ball, he wasn't far enough down the field to get the first down, so he tries to bring the ball back a little bit and make something happen, but excellent defense by the New England Patriots as they swarmed all over him.
So now Norm Johnson will come on and try from 43 yards out to make it 17-0. Johnson has hit 32 of 39 field goal tries since the Falcons signed him last year, and he misses this one wide to the right. Norm Johnson about as good from that distance as any kicker in the league, but everybody's going to miss sometime, and he did. One of the day's personality matchups in Atlanta. Cool Mo D against Guns N' Roses. Deion Sanders versus Scott Zolak. There's Zolak's comment on that. The instant New England legend, architect of 2 Patriot victories in a row, says, I'm not Deion yet. He's primetime me. I'm just local access TV or PBS.
Well, the way he's been playing so far, he might be one of them video 8 cameras at this point. But he has played well in the past. He's just trying to get rolling here today.
Today, he's been bothered by the Falcons' multiple looks and changing blitzes. And there's another one. Ball is knocked loose. And it's Falcon football. Number 56, Darian Connor, getting to Zolak for the second time. And the Patriots just weren't able to get a helmet in front of Connor on the blitz.
Scott Zolak is getting a lesson on blitzes today. I mean, coming into the game, he knows that he's going to get blitzed, and all of a sudden, it's just a great play by Darian Connor, who gets by Pat Harlow, a fine move around Harlow, and then slices in to make the tackle. But playing against a defense like the Atlanta Falcons, you know you're going to get blitzed every single play.
And there's Scott
really
Zolak's dad, who looks as though he's just been blitzed himself. Zolak's dad was a familiar figure for our cameras during the 2 New England victories with Scott in the game. We'll give him a little airtime again today. On first down, Tolliver looks in the corner of the end zone for Michael Haynes, and this time double coverage by Poole, and number 36, Jerome Henderson, was effective. It'll be second down 10. Incidentally, it was Mike Gann who recovered the fumble that was knocked loose by Darian Connor.
David Poole, Maurice Hurst, they are going to earn their paychecks here today, because this Atlanta offense will not hesitate in throwing that ball up in the end zone. They may come right back and throw it up again. You talk about life in the fast lane. You like living that fast. Play cornerback in the NFL.
David Poole had interceptions in each of the past 2 games. One he returned for a touchdown. The other led to a touchdown last week. On second down, Tony Smith gets the call, and Smith is ridden down after a gain of maybe a yard by Vincent Brown, number 59, and Singleton was again there. What an active day Chris Singleton is having so far, and now he begins to limp.
He has certainly made some fine plays on the run for the New England Patriots, and this is an area that they really can't afford to have injuries, because they don't have a lot of depth.
And as he goes out, Dwayne Sabb, a rookie out of New Hampshire, number 95, comes on to replace him. And the way Singleton has played for the first 18 minutes of the football game, that would be a fairly critical loss for New England.
The Patriots really in the hole right now with Atlanta on the drive. They get behind by 3 touchdowns, and all of a sudden now they have to throw the ball, and you have a defense like the Atlanta Falcons. I think Zolak's in a lot of trouble. Anytime he's in a situation where he's got to throw every down, you are going to get some blitzes. It's going to warm up.
5 tackles early for Singleton. Now he goes to the sideline. You saw defensive coordinator Joe Collier sending in a plan for third down 10 with the ball at the 18-yard line. Good release. Broussard, touchdown. Excellent blocking after Tolliver got the football into the hands of Broussard, and it becomes an 18-yard Falcon touchdown.
And that was a great play call by Jerry Glanville. He sent all his receivers to the left side and then stuck Broussard out to the right side. And look at this. Look at all these blockers. There's 1, 2, 3, 4 guys in front of him, just a convoy. He runs in untouched.
So it amounted to a quick screen after Broussard did a good acting job for number 92, Ray Agnew. And Norm Johnson nails the extra point. And with 11 minutes, 20 seconds still to go before halftime, the Falcons have exploded. They lead 21-0.
The NFL on NBC is brought to you by Honda, celebrating its 10th anniversary of automobile production in the United States. By Citizen Watches. Citizen, we've got elegance. By Black & Decker, the source of powerful gift ideas. And by Coors Light, the Silver Bullet is the right beer now.
We bring it back to the Georgia Dome, where Tim Green has become a spectator for the moment for the Atlanta Falcons. Went out early in the game with a hyperextended right elbow. We are told that he may return. But now that Atlanta has a 21-0 lead, I'm sure that Green gets the rest of the day off, unless New England comes back to threaten. Norm Johnson kicks it away. 11 minutes, 20 seconds remaining in the first half. Walter Stanley drops the ball at the goal line. Now has no choice, and makes a Herculean effort to get across the 10 and across the 15 all the way to the 18-yard line. Brian Mitchell finally making the stop for Atlanta. Stanley's third kickoff return of the game gets him out to the 18 after a near disaster that almost pinned the New England Patriots inside their 5-yard line.
He ran about 60 yards for the 18.
And it was a nervous 60. He was hiccuping all the way.
It was certainly a nervous 18-yard run. Whew. This is a bad situation for Scott Zolak because here come the Falcons. That's Jerry Glanville's thing. He'll hang his hat on the blitz.
He's been sacked twice, fumbled on the second of the 2 sacks, and that lost fumble set up the 18-yard scoring drive, which has made it 21-0. On first down, John Vaughn. Not a lot of running room. Gets away from Donaldson and gets outside for a couple of yards.
It's a strange mindset when you have a blitzing football team because it's almost like a pack of dogs. I mean, they just, all of them get going, and they all play way above themselves.
And they get doubly excited, Ahmad, when their offense is playing well, as is the case now for the Falcons. You see their 5 possessions of the game, 1 missed field goal, 3 touchdowns. Since the first possession, they have been potent. On second down, John Stevens gets the call, and Stevens, running hard, gets close to a first down across the 25 to about the 27-yard line. Jesse Solomon made the stop. Falcons have the most points they've scored in the first half all year long.
Deion Sanders came up and made a fine play on that last one. Usually, cornerbacks don't want to mix it up too much, and Deion, he's always impressed me with his toughness. Watch him, he's got Irving Fry. He sees the run. Watch him come up number 21 and just stick. John Stevens just sticks his head right in there. Most cornerbacks, they don't want any part of a running back coming in there, especially somebody as big as John Stevens.
Patriots have failed to convert any of their 3 third-down tries so far. Now it's third down, a long yard. Zolak is going to throw. Gets the football to number 85, Marv Cook, and Cook fumbles it away. And now we'll wait for a possession determination. I think it's going to be Falcon football at the 37-yard line of New England, and it is. Second fumble recovery for the Falcons.
I think it was Deion Sanders, a man who was always around the ball. I found it interesting yesterday in watching Deion. All the guys love him. He's one of the guys. Not only is he a star, Neon Deion, but he is the guy he's one of the guys. He doesn't set himself aside. You'll watch this play here. There's the fumble. Now here comes Sanders. Here he comes in on the play. Right there. And luckily he just fell on it, because if he scoops it up, now you got another problem.
It was Donaldson who forced the fumble with the hit on Cook. Neon Deion gets credit for the recovery. And we'll get back to that one of the guys point in just a minute, Ahmad, because I think we can elaborate on that a little bit. It is kind of interesting. First down 10 for Tolliver and the Falcons now at the 37. And this is Pritchard, and Pritchard's running ability is showcased here as he gets it down to the 20-yard line. 17-yard pickup, and you mentioned earlier, Ahmad, he can run as well as catch. That was a quasi-running play, just a chance to get him the ball in the flat.
It certainly was. When you got a guy like that, you want to give him a chance to run with the ball. You see Tolliver just hit him out in the flat. He's got a guard out in front of him. Now watch his running ability. I actually had one of his games when he was in college. He was a wide receiver, and Eric Bieniemy went down with an injury. They put Pritchard at running back, and in that particular game, he gained over 200 yards.
It was a bowl game against Tennessee, right?
First game of the season against Tennessee.
First game of the season against Tennessee. First and 10 from the 20-yard line. Billy Joe Tolliver more and more comfortable in the red gun offense, and Keith Jones gets the call this time on the running play and gets a gain of only a couple. Tim Goad making the stop for New England. When the Falcons run, it almost isn't important how much yardage they gain. They are simply reminding the defense that they might do it.
At any time. That's exactly right.
In the Georgia Dome in Atlanta, all the tickets sold, but not yet all the seats filled, and they won't be on a pleasant day in Atlanta. 8 minutes, 13 seconds to go before halftime. Atlanta has taken advantage of New England mistakes and their own offensive efficiency to lead 21-0, and they're thinking 28-0 right now. With second down 9 at the ball at the 19-yard line. Tolliver fakes, throws in the flat to Pritchard, and Pritchard catches it on his knees and then is hit from behind by Jerome Henderson. There's a flag down in the middle of the field.
One of the things that the Falcons want to do is
holding number 22 of the defense. 5 yards, automatic first down.
Is create situations where you can get Pritchard out on a one-on-one matchup and let him run with the ball. That particular time, he slipped and wasn't able to turn and face the defender. But anytime they can get Pritchard out on a one-on-one situation, it is a total mismatch.
That time, the holding call was against number 22 rookie cornerback Rod Smith. And the Falcons take the penalty and move the ball down to the 14-yard line and pick up an automatic first down.
Sometimes it's better to hold than to let the guy score a touchdown. As this offense, as you can see there, is cooking, scoring on the last 3 out of 4 possessions.
Broussard on first down gets nowhere. But as the offense cooks, a new comfort zone develops between Coach Jerry Glanville and quarterback Billy Joe Tolliver, who were not entirely pleased with each other a couple of weeks ago and made it onto all of the Sunday night highlight video shows.
That was interesting, but you know, you got a fiery coach, you got a fiery quarterback. And I think the great thing about it was, I don't think Glanville held anything against him. I mean, the guy wanted to play, didn't want to come out of the game, and Glanville went right back with him the following week.
Indeed, ever the contemporary rock and roller, or at least he thinks so, Glanville insists on calling Tolliver Billy Joel, a transmogrification of his name, to achieve the Long Island rock and roll effect. Second down 10 after no gain on first down. Draw play, and Tony Smith, if he could have broken a tackle, would have had himself a touchdown. But Jerome Henderson, the second-year player out of Clemson, made the stop for New England.
Just, you get down, you got all the receivers in there. They think they're going to pass the ball. Just an underneath handoff. And one tackler away from the end zone. This offense putting lots of pressure on the New England defense. It was funny, yesterday Tim McKyer was making jokes in practice, asking the offense were they going to show up. Like, are you guys going to show up tomorrow? You didn't show up last week. Could you please show up today? And they have showed up so far.
They have indeed.
Got a good group of guys. They have a lot of fun on this football team.
That was the most casual NFL practice I've ever seen yesterday. But it's paying off today. Tolliver's throw almost picked off. It was Andre Rison who was the intended receiver. It was Hurst who had inside position, and Tolliver's lucky that Hurst didn't hold on to the ball. So the failed third down conversion sets up a field goal drive for Johnson and the Falcons.
When you have a strong arm like Billy Joe has, sometimes you try to stick a ball in a spot that there really is no spot. And he threw it so hard that I don't think the defender could have caught it even if he had his hands on it. That was,
particularly when you have a strong arm and a receiver like that who fights for the ball and takes it away a lot.
You must play that receiver. You don't have a chance to make a break on the ball.
26-yard attempt for Johnson. He missed from 43 earlier. He makes this one, and now it is 24-0 Falcons. 5:43 still to go in the half. Back here in the Georgia Dome, we have a semblance of a football game with Atlanta leading 24-0 in the second quarter. Patriots expected to get off the bus and arrive here almost any minute now. Haven't done so far. Walter Stanley at the goal line again. It's been a day of adventures for Walter, and here is yet another failed attempt. Knocked out of bounds at the 16-yard line by Brian Mitchell, and again New England starts behind its own 20 after the kickoff from Norm Johnson. Quarterback comparison, and Tolliver is off to a pretty good start, as you can see, with 105 yards and 2 TDs. Zolak has experienced a mess so far. The second of those 2 completions was fumbled away by Marv Cook.
In the last 2 weeks we saw him, he did not look like a rookie. Sooner or later, it was going to have to happen, and I guess probably later, I'm sure he's thinking about it because he's got a defense that is attacking him. They've allowed him to attack the defenses the last couple of weeks, and just like John Vaughn there is attacking the Atlanta Falcons, all of a sudden now, Zolak is getting attacked.
John Vaughn with a 23-yard carry on first down. Scott Case made the tackle. That's what the Patriots wanted Vaughn to do today, but they didn't want to have him do it when they're behind 24-0.
No, because it's just a long game, but you see fine running ability by John Vaughn, who breaks it to the outside and then breaks a very nice move right there. But there's Dion still trying to make a tackle.
Good block by the center. Eugene Chilton sprung Vaughn on that play. So it's first down for New England now with a lot of breathing room at the 38. Vaughn hesitates and then gets out for a gain of about 3 before Jesse Tuggle made the stop for Atlanta.
If I am talking a lot about Deion Sanders, it's because I am so impressed with this young man, not only as an athlete, but also as a person. He really is a nice fella that is one of the greatest modern-day athletes that I've ever seen in terms of his baseball playing ability and his football playing ability.
On second down, the pitch to Vaughn, and fumbling the football after the first hit. But it is covered by Reggie Redding, number 70, who was alert as he came to the corner to try to block for Vaughn. That's going to set up a 3rd and long and a passing situation for Zolak. And as you see them running on 2nd and 6, it's obvious that at this point New England wants to stay away from drop back passing.
It's a wide pitch out here, and there's the ball on the ground again. And New England just self-destructing every time they've gotten the ball.
And it was Oliver Barnett, the man who replaced Tim Green early in the game after Green got the hyperextended elbow, who forced the fumble. Barnett has made 2 outstanding plays. Zolak delivers for first down yardage to number 80, Irving Pryor, working in front of Sanders in Atlanta territory at the 48.
And Irving Pryor being shadowed all day long by Deion Sanders, but Pryor, a fine athlete himself, runs a very nice route, drives Sanders back off the ball, and then makes the catch. Nice play by Zolak and Irving Pryor.
Now that one of the guys thing with Deion, it operates not only on his own team, but you can see the respect that athletes for other teams accord to him. They like him.
You can't help but be impressed. I think when you see him, it's the ability to say that I played against a guy who was a great baseball and football player.
Zolak looking deep. McMurtry trying to get inside of the cornerback Tim McKyer, and Zolak just overthrew the ball down around the 10-yard line of the Falcons.
One of the few times that Zolak has had time to throw the ball.
Jerry Glanville got here. He wanted another outstanding cornerback to balance the field opposite Deion Sanders. So they made a trade with the Dolphins to get Tim McKyer, who's a terrific cover guy, not known as a hitter against the running game.
Not at all. Tim McKyer told me, he said, I was born to cover, and cover I do.
Second down 10. Vaughn on the draw play. Well read by the Falcon defense. Flag down. And after 2 weeks of relatively mistake-free play,
Holding, number 85, 10 yards, repeat, second down.
the Patriots get another error from Pro Bowl tight end Marv Cook.
Marv Cook, who had an excellent game last week. He's at the top of your screen there. You see him blocking down, and there's the hold right there. He just ends up just trying to grab the guy, and that is a no-no in the NFL.
Holding against Mike Gann. 10-yard walk-off takes it back into New England territory at the 42-yard line. Penalties in the game, you can see there. Patriots have been flagged 3 times already. Falcons only once. Oh, terrific catch by McMurtry on the throw down the middle by Zolak, and that regains about 17 of the 20 yards, making a 16-yard pickup. The hit by Scott Case, and it's still short of the first down. It'll be third down for New England when we come back.
Do we have that hit?
As we bring you back to the Georgia Dome, Scott Zolak and the New England Patriots face third down 4 on the 8th play of a drive that began following the kickoff that followed a field goal by Atlanta, which has stretched the Falcon lead to 24-0. Zolak throwing and looking for tight end Marv Cook, and a flag goes down from well behind Cook, who was covered by number 26 reserve strong safety Louis Riddick.
And Louis Riddick is...
Holding, number 26, 5 yards, automatic first down.
You can always tell who the guilty person is. As Louis got up, he looked right at the official, saying, well, I wonder if he caught me.
Little bit of a late call, but no complaint from Riddick and the Falcons, so it is a first down for New England. Let's take another look.
You'll see Louis Riddick coming right at the end of this play. There's the ball gone by. and a little bit of a questionable call. First of all, I don't think the ball was catchable.
Which may be why the official called holding instead of interference.
Yeah, you're probably right.
Patriots trying to get on the board in the closing 2 minutes of the half. Stevens in the flat, gets away from run man, cuts inside and gets it down to about the 31. Oliver Barnett made the stop. Clock rolling now as Zolak tries to regroup and move it along for New England.
Zolak has got to get his stars involved in this offense. You got to get Irvin Fryer involved. You got to get Stevens involved. You got to get John Vaughn involved just to get back into this football game.
Irving Fryer has had only one call. He made the catch for 13 yards, but as he goes downfield, he's working against Sanders, and that's dangerous. Zolak throws to Vaughn on the hot read, and Vaughn has no gain at the 31. Clock continues to roll. And now the Patriots elect to use one of their 3 timeouts. Jesse Tuggle made the tackle, and we'll be back. We bring you back to Atlanta. I'm Jim Lampley along with Ahmad, Rashad. 1:11 to go in the second quarter. Falcons have had a great first half. Highest scoring first half of the season for them. They lead 24-0. Scott Zolak, the miracle quarterback who engineered 2 consecutive Patriot victories coming in, has had a difficult first half against the blitzing Falcon defense. Now faces 3rd down 4. They need to get the football to the 27-yard line to pick up a first down. Batted into the air. Zolak releasing quickly against the Falcon pressure. Oliver Barnett with another big play, playing in place of Tim Green, and Charlie Bauman will come on to try to get the Patriots on the board.
Zolak trying to find McMurtry on it, just a little pattern over the middle. McMurtry was covered. What a fine play by the defensive front line of the Atlanta Falcons, able to get up in Zolak's face and knock that ball down.
And there are the numbers for Charlie Bauman on the year. Kicked the game-tying and game-winning field goals against Indianapolis to get the Patriots their first win of the season. This try will be from 49 yards. It is long enough, but wide to the right. So the Patriots fail to convert their first reasonable scoring opportunity of the game. And for Dante Scarnecchia and company, a first half of frustration continues. Scarnecchia, the special teams and tight ends coach, who serves as the team staff spokesman, while Dick McPherson sits at home recovering from surgery from diverticulitis and watches this field goal miss.
Just a flat-out miss there. But one of the things that the Patriots have to avoid, I guess they really can avoid, is this is the type of offense that rather than trying to roll up the score, this offense is made for scoring touchdowns. So the last thing you can do, if they aren't careful, they can get run right out of this building.
Billy Joe Tolliver having an effective first half for Atlanta. He's gotten some great plays from his receivers, notably a back of the end zone catch between 2 defenders by Drew Hill. On first down, trying to throw to Tony Jones, and the 145-pound receiver out of Texas drops the football.
Well, the ball was going about 145 miles an hour on that one. It's a tough call.
Hey, Ahmad, let's ask our viewers to stay with us at halftime for the Domino's Pizza NFL Live Halftime Report with Bob Costas, O.J. Simpson, and Dan Hampton in the studio today. Scores, highlights, and an interview with Chargers GM Bobby Beathard about the red-hot San Diego team that lost its first 4 and has rebounded to win 6 of the last 7 for new head coach Bobby Ross. 2nd down 10 for the Falcons. Plenty of time to work. Tolliver throws to Rison, and Rison is dropped from behind by number 22, Rod Smith. Good, sure tackle by Smith.
Billy Joe Tolliver trying to get something going here in the closing seconds of the first half.
Why not go downfield? He's been working short to the corners. Now they try the middle screen, and that is beautifully played by Andre Tippett. Keith Jones was the man who made the catch. Crowd booing a little bit as the Falcons elected for a little while not to use their timeouts. Now they stop it. 21 seconds to go, and we'll be back. As as we get back to the Georgia Dome, it was the Patriots who stopped the clock with their last time out of the first half. 26 seconds still to go on the clock.
Have I mentioned that this is probably the most beautiful dome facility building that I've ever been in? This is a gorgeous building.
It's a gorgeous building in which for Scott Fulhaig to kick the football away to Walter Stanley. And Stanley makes a prudent fair catch at his 22-yard line. Yeah, it is nice, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I've been on record as saying how much I love the Cleveland Stadium and all those old places, but I could get to like this.
This has the highest, most elevated dome of any dome stadium I've seen.
Just a beautiful place.
Which events will be in here during the Olympic Games, Ahmad? Do we know that?
No, I don't think we do know that at this point.
I see somebody saying basketball. Is that correct? Basketball will be here?
They could have basketball, gymnastics, and equestrian in here all at the same time, as big as it is.
Well, we've had some rhythmic gymnastics from the Falcon wide receivers today. 19 seconds left in the half. And the Patriots elect a run on first down with John Vaughn carrying the football. Or check it, John Stevens, I should say, from the fullback position. And now the clock will run. Both teams satisfied to go to halftime at this point, with Atlanta leading 24-0. So it has been a terrific half for the Falcons, who came in loose and ready. Jerry Glanville's troops have so far embarrassed the Patriots and young quarterback Scott Zolak. And we'll be right back to take you to the Domino's Pizza NFL Live halftime report in New York with Costas, Hampton, and Simpson right after these messages from your local station.
This is the Domino's Pizza NFL Live halftime report, brought to you by Domino's. Nobody knows like Domino's how you like pizza at home.
An opportunity here to talk things over with one-time NBC insider who, despite that distinction, survived to become the esteemed general manager of the San Diego Chargers, one-time front office man with dominant teams in Miami and Washington. Speaking, of course, of Bobby Beathard. Now, Bobby, your team opens at 0-4. Since then, you've won 6 out of 7, but I know that doesn't convince you that your team has arrived.
No, I think each week is the most important game of the week and of the year, and tonight's against the Raiders is a hump that we haven't been able to get over before. So I think this right now, I don't think anybody's going to be satisfied until we win a game like this one.
Speaking of Washington, the first year Joe Gibbs coached for you there, he goes 0-5 before winning a game. Bobby Ross loses his first 4 in his debut as an NFL head coach for you in San Diego, and since then has won 6 of 7. Do you see any parallel at all?
Yeah, I see a lot. I think when Joe came in, even when we were 0-5, it didn't fall apart. Everybody knew we were going in the right direction. And the same with Bobby. In the 0-4, the players had bought his program, bought Arnsparger's defensive program, and there was no finger pointing. In fact, there were a lot of bad things said about us through the media, but I think it pulled the team together. But Bobby Ross really in that period had taught these guys the way to work and the way to win. So when we finally won, the confidence level built up, and so there are a lot of parallels. It was just about the same as what happened when we brought Joe Gibbs into Washington.
Bill Arnsparger is really key. Of course, you and he go back to Don Shula's great Dolphin teams of the 70s, and you brought him back to the NFL as your defensive coordinator with the Chargers, and now you've got one of the leading defenses in the league.
He's an amazing guy. You know, he called a year or so before we hired him and expressed an interest to get back into the game. And when I finally did talk with Bill a couple times and saw him in person, I didn't see any difference in Bill Arnsparger from 1973 and 4. He looks the same, he talks the same, and then Bobby Ross met him. I asked him if he would just talk to him. He hadn't known Arnsparger, and he offered him the job before he had any X and O talks with him at all. And I think that what he's brought us is something that only Bill Arnsparger could do. He's just fantastic.
Now, before we say so long, people might think we took you to some exotic location, but you're just sitting in your backyard overlooking the Pacific. What were your activities like this morning before this interview?
Well, I had the regular schedule. I got my wetsuit on, and I was in the water about 6:15, and not many guys were in then, so we had it to ourselves, a few of us, until about 7:30. Then I was called up because I had to do the interview. So, but it was worth it. You know, we got to get more Charger fans out there. So if this helps, that's great.
So you got on the board, though, this morning near the crack of dawn, huh?
That's a way of life out here.
Well, we've got a way to serenade you into this commercial. Good to talk to you again, and good luck tonight against the Raiders.
Thanks, Bob. We'll need it.
Hit it, boys.
Brought to you by Domino's. Nobody knows like Domino's how you like pizza at home.
Dan Hampton is here, special guest in the studio this weekend. OJ in his usual slot. We talk with them in a moment, but first to the scoreboard. The Dolphins and the Saints are tied at halftime at the Superdome. Both teams come in at 8-3, and the game is also even. Let's take a look at how each did it. Bobby Hebert in the first quarter will drop back to pass. Well protected, lofts a perfect one in the direction of Quinn Early, outstretched for the catch. 32-yard gain down to the one. Dalton Hilliard scored from there. 7-0 New Orleans. But then Marino patches together a 12-play, 80-yard drive, stepping away from the rush. He hits Tony Martin for a 19-yard gain, first and goal at the 6. 2 plays later, Mark Duper will be on the receiving end of Marino's 21st touchdown pass of the year. For the moment, at least, he leads Jim Kelly, who plays later today at Indianapolis, by 1 for the league lead. Kelly has 20, and the game is tied at 7 just before the start of the third quarter. Cleveland and Chicago have just gone to halftime in Cleveland. The Browns lead this one 13-7. Bernie Kosar back in place of the former Bear Mike Tomczak at quarterback for the Browns today. At last report, Kosar 5 for 12 for 25 yards. The Browns defense doing it, however. Peter Tom Willis, who was in for Jim Harbaugh as the Bears signal caller today, intercepted in the first quarter by David Brandon, who galloped 92 yards for the touchdown. The Bears got a TD on a Peter Tom Willis pass of 30 yards to Neil Anderson just before halftime, and it's 13-7. Pittsburgh and Cincinnati, the Steelers trying to extend their record to 9-3 and leading at the half 14-6. Boomer Esiason watching from the sideline, as he will in all likelihood the rest of the year as they try out young David Klingler. Here they try the fake off the punt with the snap to the up man, Eric Ball, but it eludes him, and it's picked up for the Pittsburgh touchdown, run in 32 yards for the score by Charles Davenport. Klingler completed his first 5 passes, but then the rush got to him. Linebacker Gerald Williams nails him for a 12-yard loss that pushed them out of field goal range. A bit later, it's Barry Foster for Pittsburgh, a milestone run, stutter-stepping his way past Franco Harris for the top figure for a single season in the history of the Pittsburgh Steelers. Then a bit later, he scores on the 2-yard run to increase the advantage to 14-6. Jim Breach has a pair of field goals in this first half for Cincinnati, and Foster also has the lead now overall in the league. He has gone past Emmitt Smith, who played on Thanksgiving, and is idle today, past Smith for the top spot overall in the NFL rushing race. Washington and Phoenix, the Redskins apparently have relocated their once missing offense, and they lead at RFK at the half 20-3. Kansas City on a pair of Nick Lowry field goals, trying to take their record to 8-4, trying to win their 4th in a row, leading at the Meadowlands over the Jets 6-0. They've just begun the second half. The game you folks are watching, Atlanta with a 24-0 lead over the 2-9 Patriots at the half, and Green Bay on 3 Chris Jackie field goals, leading early in the third quarter at County Stadium in Milwaukee over the Buccaneers, 9-7. Now let's talk about the Saints and the Dolphins.
Well, you have to be impressed with the Dolphins. Marino is 17-21 against a team that's the 2nd highest rated defense in football. He's throwing the ball to receivers who otherwise would be considered covered. He's got a lot of confidence in his arms. I think what's happening is the New Orleans defensive backs are sort of stunned. They think they got these guys covered, and Marino's throwing the ball in there anyway, and I'm sure at half-times that's part of the conversation they're having in the locker room right now.
Some of the problem that Miami's having trying to get the ball down the field is the fact that they're keeping in Humphreys, their tight end Keith Jackson, for extra protection. Less guys out in the patterns for Marino to go to.
How about the Bears trailing 13-7 at Cleveland halftime?
The Bears, the Pits. They don't look so hot. And the same play that Jim Harbaugh got into trouble up in Minnesota for was the same one that Peter Tom Willis tried. It was a quick out. Cleveland intercepted it, ran it back for a touchdown. The Bears are in a hole, and this year they just seem to fall deeper in the hole when they get behind.
Meanwhile, let's go back to the Georgia Dome. We'll see you folks later in the day. It's 24-0 in favor of the Falcons over the Pats at the half, and we send things back to Jim Lampley and Ahmad Rashad.
At the Georgia Dome in Atlanta, it's a happy day so far for the 4-7 Falcons who lead the 2-9 Patriots 24-0. I'm Tim Lampley with Ahmad Rashad. And Ahmad, let's take a look at the Coors Light halftime stats.
And the Atlanta Falcons finally got their offense together, and their defense also, after getting blown out again last week by 40-some points. All of a sudden, they bounce back right here, and they're doing everything right. If you look at the big thing here, is a couple of turnovers by the Patriots that led to scores by the Atlanta Falcons.
Indeed, the Patriots have fumbled the football 4 times, lost it twice. Quite a change in fortunes for the Pats and their rookie quarterback, Scott Zolak, who had been so effective in consecutive victories over the Colts and the Jets.
It seemed to me the difference with Scott Zolak in the past couple weeks, he has been attacking the defense. All of a sudden, he comes in here, and you have an Atlanta Falcons defense that attacks him. And on a young quarterback, it's very hard to be able to perform out there when you got blitzes coming from everywhere, every single play.
And indeed, the Falcons have been able to seize the initiative with that strategy. The New England staff seemed to know that it was coming. They were still in the game at 7-0 prior to a great catch in the back of the end zone by Drew Hill.
Just great work by Drew Hill. I mentioned earlier in the game how great he runs his routes. You'll watch him here, number 85, in the middle of the field, make this little out move, and an excellent pass by Billy Joe Tolliver. But watch the way he ends this reception. He makes the grab and makes sure that both feet come down in the end zone. Just a great pass and a great catch by Drew Hill.
Did you say feet?
I did say feet.
It was a remarkable feat.
It was an excellent feat. And there is Deion Primetime Sanders. I'm just getting a kick watching this guy work. He's, as I said earlier, one of the great athletes to play this game. A man who is well respected among his peers.
Now, Ahmad, he has hoop earrings in both ears. Is there a code there?
That he's primetime. I mean, if you can play ball the way he plays ball, you can put hoops in both ears and a nose if you want. Because Deion makes a statement, not only with his play, but also, you see, he makes a personal statement with the earrings.
And, of course, the black scarf around the head and gloves on both hands.
The kickoff returns.
Few players have more accoutrement as they go onto the field than Deion Sanders. Falcons will kick off to begin the second half. John Vaughn and Walter Stanley wait the goal line for Norm Johnson's kick. And if ever a team needed a positive first offensive possession of a second half, it is New England in this situation. Tremendous downfield coverage on the kick again and again. It is number 37, Elbert Shelley.
The Patriots have not been able to do anything. As you see the result, 3 punts, a couple of fumbles, a missed field goal, and then nothing at the end of the half. So they have offensively done absolutely nothing here today, and are in a real, if they don't get it going soon, they're in trouble. They could have a real blowout here.
Now, the Falcons will come out and attack Zolak with the blitz from the get-go again, right?
That's the only thing they do. That's all they know how to do is attack. They're not a type of defense that sets in one place where you know how to block them. They come at you from a lot of different positions.
John Vaughn running with the football. Oliver Barnett making another big play. What a first half Barnett had after replacing Tim Green at defensive tackle when Green went out with a hyperextended elbow, and the Falcons may be finding something here in the third-year player out of Kentucky. He weighs 288. Green is down at 245. If the Falcons need more beef along the front, this guy can provide it.
When you think about Tim Green playing that defensive end spot at 245 pounds, he is in over his head. He's a very quick defender, but sometimes you need some brute strength up there.
It was a 3-yard loss on first down. It's second down 13 now. And Zolak throws to Marv Cook, and this time Cook, who fumbled it away once in the first half, holds on to the football before Ken Tippins makes the stop. But it's a very short gain. It'll be third and long for Zolak.
That is the position that the Falcons want to keep the New England Patriots in a third and long situation. Always a passing down. That way they get to attack this young quarterback. The way his body language is a lot different than it was the last couple weeks, because when you play against the Falcons, it's more of a thinking game. You've got to try to figure out where that blitz is coming from all the time, and you just can't sit back there and operate.
And how bad was it for the Patriots in the first half? Well, Ahmad, we went a whole half without telling the Scott Zolak / Joe Montana story. On third and long, Zolak throws behind a receiver who never looked, and a flag goes down. Deion Sanders was working against Irving Fryer. They're on the far side of the field, and now Mike Gann is working against Reggie Redding after the play is over.
Deion Sanders was blanketing Irvin Fryer all the way down the field.
I can't see what the flag would be for.
Illegal contact beyond 5 yards. Number 21, 5-yard penalty. Automatic first down.
Obviously, as we watch Deion Sanders here going on Irvin Fryer, there is the hand that he just sort of stuck up there and touched. Ticky-tack call. That was not a good call at all. That looked like great defensive coverage by Deion Sanders.
Well, you're supposed to be allowed the one bump within 5 yards of the line of scrimmage, and then almost every defensive back checks the receiver at some point with his hand. On first down, Vaughn has a good hole up the middle and a gain of about 8 yards before Jesse Tuggle made the stop for Atlanta. Vaughn running behind Reggie Redding, who was a Falcon in 1990, former Falcon draft choice.
Anytime this New England Patriot offense can find out where the defenders are on a lineup, they're able to power forward and get some positive yards. The problem being is that the Falcons line up differently almost every single down.
Second down, 2 yards to go. And again, they go with the draw to Vaughn, and again, Vaughn finds a hole and has first down yardage out near the 40-yard line before Mo Gardner makes the stop for Atlanta. So the Patriots get a little new life from the penalty flag against Sanders and 2 John Vaughn runs.
Very hard to play defense for Jerry Glanville if you don't like contact. If you notice, every time someone has the ball, there are black shirts flying all over the place. And that's one of his, that's his forte. Even when he was here before, when he was the defensive coordinator of the Atlanta Falcons Grits Blitz, that was the thing that they do. They just fly all over that ball.
There's a look at Glanville on the sideline. As you watch Vaughn carry the ball for the Patriots, you're looking at what was the New England game plan when the score was 0-0. Now it's 24-0. Golak hit for the 3rd time behind the line of scrimmage. Make it the 4th time. And again, it is Darian Connor who got free to get in there along with Mike Gann.
Golak learning that against this defense, you cannot pump once. You got to let go of that ball as soon as you get a chance to. You see Zolak coming back here. Watch him pump one time, trying to let go of the ball. No, it's not that much time. When you got blitzes coming at you all the time, you got to let go of it.
3 sacks for Darian Connor already. 4 for the Atlanta Falcons on the day. And you can see that Darian is the leading sack man for the Falcons coming in. He had only 4 on the season, arriving at game day. 3 already today. On with the draw. Ball popped loose, but John fell on it. And now New England will face 3rd and 20 some odd back at its 29-yard line.
Last year when the Falcons made it to the playoffs, one of the things that they did so well defensively is cause turnovers. Because of that swarming type of a defense, they're able to knock the ball loose, fall on the ball. They haven't been able to do that this well this year, but today they are showing signs of the same sort of defense that they played last year. Maybe a lot too late.
It was Torrey Epps, reserve nose guard, who forced the fumble on the last play. 3rd down, 21 yards to go for the Patriots. And you get a holding call on Chung, I assume. Chuck Smith was the man who had position on Chung and was headed towards Scott Zolak. So Smith would get credit for the sack.
Illegal movement, false start on the offense.
And it's all
The down is
nullified
still
by
3.
a false start against New England. So 3rd and 21 will become 3rd and 26, and the Patriots will get another chance.
And that's what happens when you blitz all the time. You get those linemen up there that are trying to, they start flinching and carrying on, trying to get a jump on the defender. Next thing you know, you get an offsides penalty like that. But Chuck Smith was like shot out of a rifle on that last play. He was around Chung immediately.
The 2 young tackles for New England, Harlow and Chung, so great last week. Both have had their bad moments now today. And on 3rd and 26, Zolak launches, and Deion has a freebie. And Deion shows the freebie to the crowd, says, I've got a freebie. Now I'm going to go across midfield, inside the 40 to the 38-yard line. Larry Williams finally making the stop for the New England Patriots. 29-yard interception return for Deion Sanders. Irving Fryer, the intended receiver, but Fryer was nowhere near it.
Deion Sanders, with that speed, look back. It's almost like he's the receiver instead of Irving Fryer. And there are very few people that have ever played this game of football that have that much of an impact on a football game from a defensive cornerback position.
Deion Sanders with the interceptions. Falcons will have it when we come back.
The NFL on NBC is brought to you by Fruit of the Loom, clothes for the best of your life. By Chevy Trucks, the most dependable, longest-lasting trucks on the road. By Napa, because there are no unimportant parts. And by Hertz #1 Club Gold, Hertz's fastest service, now in more locations coast to coast.
We bring you back to the Georgia Dome. Deion Sanders having just picked off a Scott Zolak pass. Second interception of the year for Sanders, who needs to polish his Pro Bowl credentials down the stretch here to be sure of going to the game. And the Falcons start with the football at the 37-yard line of New England. Tolliver with the play fake, wide open in the flat is Pritchard, and Tolliver just overthrew it. And it was Drew Hill, not Pritchard. 85, not 35. Now let's analyze the pass route for Deion Sanders here, Ahmad.
We're going to talk about how much speed Deion Sanders has, because Scott Zolak is trying to throw this ball away. Watch him, he just fires it way down the field. Nobody can get it except Deion, who turns on the speed and catches the ball. Now he shows you that he has it. And then here's where he becomes so dangerous. He's such a great runner once he gets the ball. He is here's the guy, he lives up to it. He should be prime time, because that's exactly what he is. He is a very exciting young football player.
On second down 10 from the 37, Tolliver drops it. Broussard picks it up. And the alert play by Broussard will go on his record as a 2-yard loss. But in effect, it helped to save a possession for Atlanta.
This ball snapped to the wrong person. It looked like he snapped it in the middle. So it was like Broussard thinking, well, I don't know if that's to me or you, but I better grab it.
Our spotter, Kim Richardson, is telling me that that's a designed play.
Sure, that's what I'd say in the meeting on Monday, too. As soon as they have that meeting on Monday, I'd say, well, you know, I thought he was snapping it to me.
Kim Anderson, the spotter, he must have a lot of friends on the Falcons. He says it was a design play.
If it is, they should throw it out.
Third down 12. Tolliver under pressure, and New England is going to get a sack. And number 96, Brent Williams, the 7th-year defensive end out of Toledo, was the first man to get there, and ultimately he gets credit for the sack. Clock continues to run, ball near midfield.
Big Brent Williams, number 96, getting by Mike Kinn. And you see Billy Joe Tolliver run out of the pocket, and there is Brent Williams making the stop.
And that time the Patriots had some action on with Rod Smith blitzing from the nickelback position. So Williams gets the sack, turning a potential long field goal try into a punt. For Bullhaig, Walter Stanley waits at the 10-yard line. And another Walter Stanley adventure begins. This time he finds a hole and gets up across the 20 to about the 25-yard line. Number 46, Charles Washington, makes the stop for the Falcons. So New England will have the football, trailing 24-0, 8:20 to go in the third when we come back. Hey, next Saturday on NBC Sports World, a special day of beauty and elegance on ice at the World Professional Figure Skating Championships, featuring Olympic sensations Debbie Thomas and Rosalind Sumners, the crowd-pleasing American pair Kitty and Peter Carruthers, my favorites. That's next Saturday at 4 p.m. Eastern Time on NBC, World Professional Figure Skating Championships. Patriots football, first down from the 24-yard line, still trailing 24-zip. And after a short gain for John Vaughn on first down, we go to Bob Costas in our studio in New York. Bob.
Jim, the setup, a 55-yarder from Dave Craig to Willie Davis, and then the payoff, the 2-yarder to Keith Cash. And the Chiefs extend their lead over the Jets 13-0 in the third, trying to win for the 4th consecutive time to take their record to 8-4. Back down to Georgia.
So with Kansas City shutting out the Jets here, it is Atlanta shutting out New England. Second down, 9 yards to go for Scott Zolak and the Patriots. Vaughn the rookie out of Michigan, working forward for about 7 yards before Jesse Solomon makes the stop. All in all, a dreary day so far for New England, but individually, John Vaughn is doing it again, Ahmad. 14 carries for 64 yards.
Well, that's what the Patriots have to do. They've got to try to run the ball, even though they're behind by 24 points. It's a situation where if you just set back and pass, it certainly sets off the Atlanta Falcon defense. So what you try to do is to make them play honest by continuing to run the ball, and Vaughn having a very good day. One of the few Patriots who are.
Third down, 3 yards to go. Patriots are 2 of 8 on third down conversions in the game. Zolak hits Marv Cook, and Cook falls forward for the first down in the arms of Jeff Donaldson. You know, they say Cook doesn't really run a pass pattern, Ahmad. He just goes out and bumps somebody to get free.
It's like a basketball move where you try to bump in order to get yourself in position for a rebound, and that's the sort of routes that Marv Cook runs. And in trying to get back in this game, they want Zolak to not have to throw the ball way down the field. Just throw medium-range passes to try to get something established. As we see Zolak here looking for Cook. Cook bumping off. You see there's a man always right near him. He just has such excellent hands and the ability to get open.
So the Patriots convert the third down into a first down for the third time in the game. And Zolak throws to the right flat once again, this time to Irving Fryer, trying to bring Dion up just a little bit.
Confident builders, that's what you call those. He's trying to get his offense going in some sort of a rhythm because they've been out of rhythm all day. Just a little stop pattern by Irving Fryer on Deion Sanders, who comes up very quickly to make the tackle. That's the thing that impresses me about Sanders. He is not afraid to stick his nose in there and make a tackle.
6-yard gain. It'll be second down 4 for New England. Double wide receivers to the top of the screen. Vaughn in the tailback position. Makes a cut to the right side and is close to first down yardage as he gets across the 45 to about the 46-yard line. Mike Gann making the stop. 8-year defensive end from Notre Dame.
And it is the first time that we have seen Zolak become animated in that New England huddle. He looked a little tight at the beginning of the game, but now he's starting to make things happen a little bit and starting to loosen up a bit.
And there is Hugh Millen, the incumbent starting quarterback for New England, out much of the season with a damaged left shoulder. The numbers on the year for Millen, who has just signed a contract for the next 2 years that makes him the highest paid player in the history of the Patriots franchise. They say he gets the job back when he comes back. On first down, Zolak takes the pitch back and throws it downfield, and Dion's got another one. Hold it up and show it to us, Dion. He gets across the 20 to the 24-yard line, and Zolak has another completion to Deion Sanders. 15-yard return. No one was open despite the pitch back to Scott Zolak. Deion Sanders has just picked off his second interception of the game. 4:38 still to go in the third quarter. 46 yards on returns of those 2 interceptions, and in a moment we'll show you the play. Dion came from section 315 to get this one, Ahmad.
There were no defensive backs that played like this when I played. Not one. He is the most exciting defensive player I've seen.
Ball on the 24-yard line for the Falcons, and they lead 24-0. Trying to pick up their 5th win of the season. On first down, Tony Smith with the football, and we'll take another look at Dion's pick.
Deion Sanders is covering Irving Fryer, but all the time he's looking in the backfield at the quarterback. Now he sees the ball thrown. Watch him turning his feet on here, and then comes across 2 of his own players to make this interception. Now he becomes very dangerous. A little fake with the lateral, which stops
Michael Timpson,
and then runs the ball back.
Yeah, he froze Timpson completely with the fake lateral, and there was nobody there to lateral too.
Primetime is giving Primetime a new name. It should be about 3 o'clock rather than 8.
Second down, 8 yards to go. Tony Smith again with the football, and on a good open field tackle by Jerome Henderson, Smith is stopped short of the first down. He gets it to about the 32. It'll be third down, 2 yards to go.
The Falcons with a chance now to try to work on some things, trying to salt the win away, trying to take the ball, work the clock, and still go down and score. So we'll see now how effective this offense is in this sort of a situation.
And I've completely miscalled the yardage and the placement of the ball, Ahmad. It isn't 3rd down 2. He made it to the 1st down marker. Give it a 1st down to Atlanta.
Okay.
All right. Well, Deion's hidden back there. That's Jesse Solomon, actually, who is more front and center than Deion. We'll give you a little break. My apologies to Director Peter Fletcher. Doing the best he can to give us the split ISO. Tony Smith on the carry. Tim Edwards made the stop. It was a pickup of about 4 yards. And it'll be 2nd down 6.
It gets tough as an offensive team when you're leading by 24 points to try to keep something going. So this is where you really got to turn it on. This is where you become a professional. You still have to make all the plays work.
And if it gets to be, say, 38-0,
you still have to make all the plays work.
that's when the announcers have to be professionals.
Then it becomes very tough on us.
But so far, we're still having a big time.
As long as Deion keeps playing, it's very exciting.
2nd down 5 for Tolliver and the Falcons, and Tony Smith shows some of his 1st-round draft choice moves, running right past the fallen flag, as you saw. They go across midfield and into New England territory. Now we await the penalty call.
Defense, offside, penalty is declined. 1st down.
It was defensive end Marion Hobby in the game for New England, who had jumped offside.
Tony Smith showing it is possible to run backwards as fast as you run forward. If you watch after the handoff, watch Smith dip into the hole and then back up. Whoa, and then take off and not lose any speed going forward. Just an excellent run by Tony Smith.
Best he's looked today. Now you see a little bit of why he was the #1 Falcon draft pick, 19th pick overall in this draft, 2nd among running backs, only behind Tommy Bardell of Cleveland. 1st down 10 from the 43. Tony Smith again. Nice cut inside. Pickup of about 7 yards down to the 35-yard line. Jerome Henderson again with the stop.
I spent part of the afternoon yesterday shopping for shoes with Tony Smith. He bought some faster ones than I did. A lot faster. More maneuverability in the shoes that he bought.
Well, this qualifies as unique research. You now shop for shoes with the players on the teams we're covering.
That's right.
In an attempt to learn everything you can about their arches, I suppose.
I leave nothing uncovered when I do my research for these games.
Amazing. Tony Smith now having bared his soles. 2nd down 2 for the Falcons. Ball at the 35 of New England. New England showing blitz. Tolliver taking a long time. Henderson backs up, and we'll get a delay of game call. No. A timeout by Billy Joe Tolliver of the Falcons. The timeout to avoid delay of game. 1:01 in the 3rd. We'll be back. Back in the Georgia Dome, the Falcons managing a 24-0 lead in what has so far been a scoreless 2nd half. 6th play of the drive that began after Deion Sanders' 2nd interception off Scott Zolak. And the offside call here will go against number 98, Tim Edwards.
You know, talking about Deion's interception.
Encroachment on the defense. 5 yards. 1st down.
Usually there's very little difference between, in terms of athletic skills, between a defensive back and an offensive receiver. The only difference is defensive backs can't catch. Sanders is changing all of that. Of course, he has played some offensive receiver here, too.
But his catch on the 2nd interception was as good as almost any catch by a wide receiver today, with the sole exception of Drew Hill's tiptoe along the back line of the end zone.
Plus, if he couldn't catch, he wouldn't be playing baseball.
Oh, good point. A catching game. Tolliver gives to Tony Smith, and Smith breaks free. Gonna have a touchdown. And the Falcons, who came into the game with only 1 rushing touchdown all year, now have their 2nd of the day. 1 for Broussard, and this one for Tony Smith from 29 yards out. They pinched the New England defense to the inside, and Smith broke it effectively to the outside.
We saw a moment ago Smith's ability to shake and bake. Here is some real shaking and baking as he brings it to the right and then breaks it all the way back to the left, and now shows some speed, some flat-out speed as he gets to the end zone.
And Rison with the block downfield.
Very nice block by Rison.
The great players do it all, don't they, Ahmad?
Certainly do.
And the kick by Norm Johnson makes it 31-0 Atlanta after the 29-yard TD run by rookie Tony Smith. Ahmad, another look at Tony Smith's 29-yard touchdown
Tony
run.
Smith with an excellent run here. You see him break it back against the grain here. Now here comes a block that enables him to get into the end zone right there by Andre Rison, and Smith with the speed does the rest.
And New England fans who have suffered through so many of these dreary road shellackings over the years and may have fantasized after the past 2 weeks that they were finished with that for a while, now see their team fall behind 31-0 late in the third quarter. The game begins to take on an air of inevitability. Walter Stanley gets to the outside, though, and gets across the 20-yard line before he's knocked out of bounds at the 21. Let's go to Bob Costas in New York for an NFL Live update. Bob.
Jim, a big play at the Superdome. Game tied at 10. Marino to pass. The great veteran Pat Swilling knocks the ball loose into the arms of Robert Goff, the nose tackle. A 28-yard unmolested romp for the touchdown. Following the conversion, New Orleans leads in the battle of 8 and 3 teams, 17-10 at the Superdome in the third.
And with Lawrence Taylor absent from the game, the exploits of people like Swilling and Derek Thomas and Andre Tippett, for his part, take on a new significance. Zolak on first down 10 for the Patriots gives to number 33, Sam Gash. And the rookie fullback out of Penn State, getting only his second carry of the year, has no gain. It'll be second down 10. The ball stays right at the 20-yard line. Actually call it a loss of a yard. From the 21 back to the 20. Zolak's pass is now batted into the air. Almost intercepted, but it falls harmlessly to the AstroTurf. Mo Gardner was the man who got a hand on the ball as Zolak tried to release, and the incompletion stops the clock with 14 seconds to go in the third quarter.
And even though we're still into the third quarter, the Atlanta Falcons have taken out some of their starting players. Sanders no longer in the game, as we see Zolak here trying to find somebody down the field, but Mo Gardner making a great play in jumping up and knocking that ball down.
And there's Deion Sanders on the sideline, endearing himself to the coaching staff in ways other than his great play on the field. Third down 10. Zolak banged to the AstroTurf by number 76, Mike Gann. Gann and Darian Gunner together have been unblockable on the pass rush today.
It is certainly a learning thing for Scott Zolak. He doesn't have time here to hardly do anything, but you've got to let that ball go.
Galvin Stevens was the offensive guard who had a great view of Gann as he collected the sack. Beginning of the fourth quarter in the Georgia Dome, and there are the numbers for the first three. Falcons with an efficient effort so far, highlighted by some great plays by the receivers and 2 Deion Sanders interceptions. They got a 31-0 lead as Sean McCarthy prepares to punt for the New England Patriots on fourth down, 19 yards to go. McCarthy gets it away from his end zone. Tony Smith is the receiver, and Smith, after a momentary pause, starts forward from the 43 and gets to about the 50-yard line. 46-yard punt, 7-yard return. Deion Lambert on the tackle for New England. Jerry Glanville, subject this morning in the papers, and look, they are feigning another argument between Tolliver and Glanville over there. They're pretending as though Glanville is again involved in a dispute with Tolliver as Billy Joe comes back onto the field to lead the offense. Or does he?
Yeah, that's a picture that we didn't see last week. But Jerry Glanville told us that his team is the type of team that bounces back from big losses all the time. And I think it really is easier to bounce back from a loss that you had no chance of winning.
And there's Wade Wilson, who has come on now to quarterback for the Falcons with the 31-0 lead. And that's why Tolliver and Glanville were going through the little pushing and shoving act for the benefit of the cameras. On first down, Wade Wilson gives to Keith Jones, and Brent Williams makes the stop for New England. Reserve players in the game on offense now for the Falcons as Jerry gives everybody a chance to play. The morning papers questioning whether Glanville's tenure should continue here in Atlanta. And Jerry says that he's oblivious to all that. He kind of uses the media as a peripheral enemy to help unite the players on the team.
Yeah, he said he doesn't read the paper at all. He said no one can put as much pressure on him as himself. And I think that's kind of true. He does use that. He gets all the guys around to rally around him and not be involved in all the peripheral stuff, which works sometimes and other times it doesn't.
Eric Pegram with the football on second down for Atlanta, and the Falcons for the moment staying on the ground. And there's a look at this morning's headline.
Even if you don't read the papers, you run into enough people during the course of the day that read them and remind you of them. Here is one of the things. Now, this happened in Houston when people said our Glanville's methods wearing thin. It's because they haven't won a whole bunch of games.
Well, he calls a lot of attention to himself. Some of it inadvertent, some of it obviously desired.
As long as you win, I don't think you ever have a problem with it. There's times when your season becomes the way the Falcons season has become, that it becomes a problem.
Third down, 4 yards to go. Pegram with the football, and Pegram may have found his way to a first down inside the New England 40 to the 39-yard line before Dwayne Sabb made the stop for the Patriots.
A lot of people think that on this team that the stars should be the players, and they have enough players here that really should be the stars. But with Glanville being the character that he is, it's hard to ignore him. It really is hard. And the press wants to write about him as much as they do. You sort of make him a star.
Glanville, in his discussion with us yesterday, seemed a little defensive in pointing out all of the injuries that had helped to put the Falcons in their present 4-7 position, and going out of his way to point out that the team has won 9 of its last 11 home games. But you can hardly blame the man for being a little sensitive. He's been to the playoffs 4 of the last 6 years, as Keith Jones gets the football on first down and Tim Goad makes the tackle. Even though this team has 0 chance of going to the playoffs, after all, they're in a division with San Francisco and New Orleans.
The key to, even though they don't have a chance to make it to the playoffs, where you see if a coach is effective, if you watch how hard the players play. Because if you know with 3 or 4 games left to go in the season that you don't have a chance to make it to the playoffs, that really is a situation for you to quit. They have not quit. They are still playing hard.
A conventional thinker who went to that ultra-casual practice yesterday might have thought this team has kicked it in. On the field today, they have shown that that is hardly the case.
You mean that practice yesterday was a little bit too casual for you? There were guys in
Well, I think there are some people from, you know, what you might think of as the old days of pro football who'd have been blown away to see guys walking onto the practice field in street clothes, holding their helmets in their hands for no apparent reason.
With street shoes on and overcoats.
And walking through a couple of plays. I mean, it couldn't have lasted more than, what, 12 minutes?
No, but it was the mental practice. It was the mental thing that you had to go through. I remember when I was playing on Saturday mornings, my thing was to never break a sweat on Saturday morning. I just wanted to go through the mental part of it and go back home and go to sleep and get ready for the next day.
Well, they accomplished the not breaking the sweat part, that's for sure. Third down 7 after the carry by Pegram. They need to get the football to the 28-yard line to pick up a first down. And Pegram getting a lot of work here, again has it. This time, too much shuck and jive and not enough straightforward for 5. Ray Agnew making the stop for New England. Pegram is a second-year running back out of North Texas State, who was the Falcons' number 6 pick in the '91 draft. These recent carries have stretched his season total from 12 times with the football now to 16.
You see the frustration of the New England team at the end of that play. Brent Williams throwing a couple of blows. Just total frustration.
They'll get more frustrated if Norm Johnson hits this 54-yard field goal.
And when you're up this far, you give a kicker a chance to kick those.
Yep. Long enough. And good. A 54-yarder equaling the season longest for Johnson. And a nice little confidence builder for the kicker makes it 34-0 Atlanta in the 4th.
The NFL on NBC is brought to you by Oldsmobile, the power of intelligent engineering. By Braun, makers of Flex Control, the world's first electric shaver with a pivoting head. By the Business Services Division of MCI. And by McDonald's. What you want is what you get, guaranteed at McDonald's today.
10 minutes, 12 seconds to go in Atlanta. Norm Johnson preparing to kick off after the fourth 54-yard field goal of his career, 2 of them this year. And after getting 31 points with Billy Joe Tolliver at quarterback, the Falcons add a field goal on the strength of Wade Wilson's quarterbacking and the ground game. Walter Stanley pops the ball up, gets it back, and the adventures of Stanley continue. Meanwhile, here's the little set-to on the sideline that preceded the last Falcon possession, and this was all for show.
I'm sure it was. This is a situation where a few weeks ago, Tolliver didn't want to come out of the game when they were going to put in Wade Wilson. So now, see, here's Glanville having a little bit of fun down there. And well, Wilson wasn't mad at Tolliver. He was mad at Jerry for taking him out of the game. And now no one's mad at anyone.
And that's all part of Jerry's act. Bonding the team together against the outside world. What Jerry's really saying there is, hey, you video highlights people can have all the fun you want with Billy Joe and me going at each other a couple of weeks ago, but this is what it's really like for us.
If you're a professional and a veteran player, Jim Randall's an easy guy to play for.
Scott Zolak giving up the football again. Fumble cannot be advanced. Jesse Solomon with it. And they're going to rule it an incomplete pass, I believe.
It's an incomplete pass. Intentional grounding on the quarterback. Half the distance to the goal. Lost it down.
Well, Jim, not to sound too much like Bob Trumpy, but I disagree. This is a fumble. What was he throwing it left-handed?
Yeah, I don't think so.
I don't understand that. That was a horrible call. He's a right-handed quarterback. He put the ball in his left hand and fumbled it.
Yeah, Darian Connor was the man who hit Zolak and forced the fumble. Jesse Solomon was the alert defender who picked it up and ran it in. And it all goes for naught as referee Jerry Austin's crew rules it an incomplete pass and intentional grounding. So there's a penalty, half the distance to the goal line, loss of down, make it 2nd down, 18 yards to go for Zolak in the pass. John Vaughn topples a couple of cheerleaders after Scott Case delivers the perhaps unnecessary but still professionally accepted hit. And I think we've got an injured cheerleader over there.
Of the offense, the penalty is declined. 3rd down.
Holding call was against tight end Ben Coates.
It's dangerous over on them sidelines when you see these guys coming at you, and then here's Vaughn not able to stop, gets tripped up, and then rolls right underneath one of the cheerleaders.
Yep, that's the Lawrence Taylor injury.
Yeah, hopefully she'll be all right. And Vaughn trying to assist her.
Falcon organization checks its liability insurance as the cheerleader is examined along the sideline. And as for liabilities, the Patriots face 3rd and 18. Zolak hands on the draw to Vaughn, and Vaughn gets a little breathing room for punter Sean McCarthy out to the 15-yard line. Cheerleader still down.
Looks like she had a little bit of an ankle problem. You see a doctor there looking at her ankle.
And it's nice that the cheerleading supervisor is right there to be a part of the scene. That dark-haired lady with the black jumpsuit and the white blouse is the sort of major domo, or major domess, as it were, of the cheerleaders here. Sean McCarthy punting from the goal line. 8:41 to go in the game. A high, booming kick by McCarthy. Tony Smith at the 39-yard line. And Smith gets away from one tackler for a moment, but then rides him only to the 42-yard line. 46-yard punt, 8-yard return, and Atlanta football when we come back. 8 minutes, 30 seconds to go in Atlanta. And those 8 minutes, 30 seconds may seem like forever for the Patriots and their fans as they try to get something positive out of what is so far a 34-0 debacle. Falcons have played efficiently and well. Highlights have been some terrific plays by the wide receivers and 2 Deion Sanders interceptions and an opportunistic defense that's taken the football away from New England several times. On first down, Keith Jones in the game at running back has pickup of about 6 yards, and we look at the numbers for Billy Joe Tolliver, who has been relieved by Wade Wilson in the game. 9 of 18, 107 yards, 2 TDs, no interceptions, taking what was there against the New England defense. It's a multiple quarterback league these days, Ahmad. Each of these teams has used 3 quarterbacks this season, and that is the exception, or no, the rule rather than the exception now in the NFL.
It really is. If you're a quarterback on any team in the NFL, no matter if you're second team or third team, you will get a chance to play because of the injury factor of that position.
Wade Wilson picked up off the waiver wire by Atlanta when Danny Green cut him in Minnesota. And he gives for about a 1-yard pickup by Keith Jones. It'll be third down, a yard to go. Tim Goad made the stop for New England.
Wade Wilson was a former teammate of mine when I was playing for the Vikings.
That would be the Vikings, Ahmad.
Yeah, it was the Vikings. Yeah, maybe we were teammates. It's been a while.
It's filtering back through your bio.
That's right.
The only possible match for you and Wade Wilson is in a Minnesota uniform.
That's right. It was very nice to see him yesterday.
Was the starting QB for the Vikings, took over the job from Tommy Kramer in the middle 1980s. Gives to Keith Jones, and Jones struggles forward for the first down in the arms of Vincent Brown. So the chains move, the clock continues to roll. Falcons continue with the football. There's Tim Green with the hyperextended right elbow. Probably could have come back to play had he been needed. Hasn't been needed, and in fact, his replacement, young man named Oliver Barnett out of Kentucky, has played terrifically. And there's a timeout now on the field as a New England player is being examined. Scores 34-zip, and we'll be back. Back in the Georgia Dome, where Chris Miller lounges through a relaxing afternoon. He will not be back in play this season for the Falcons, but today they have gotten excellent quarterback play from both of his successors, Billy Joe Tolliver and Wade Wilson. Surgery on the ligament in the left knee for Miller, and the former Oregon Fighting Duck, just like my buddy Ahmad, will bounce back resiliently the same way you always did.
And he certainly will. Broke all of Dan Fouts' records while he was at Oregon.
On first down, Eric Pegram gets the football for Atlanta. Wilson handing to Pegram for the pickup of 3 yards. Incidentally, I'm told that we had an incorrect score on the 10-minute ticker a moment ago. To correct it for you, it is Green Bay 19, Tampa Bay 14 in the fourth quarter. Green Bay 19, Tampa Bay 14. I'm not sure what we showed you on the graphic, but that is the correct score in the fourth quarter. Pack leading the Bucks.
There's Tim Green once again. We visited with Tim yesterday. He's a very, very nice young man. He's in law school.
One of the best and the brightest for Coach Dick McPherson at Syracuse. And Coach Mack, now of the Patriots, continues to recover from his diverticulitis bout. And there's Eric Pegram again with the football, and now Deion Sanders, having stolen 2 passes from Scott Zolak, has stolen son Thane Green from Tim Green. 3rd interception of the day for Deion.
You got to have some fun some kind of way. He's not playing anymore, so he goes over and has some fun with Tim Green's son. This is incredible. There's a game going on here. That's obviously over, and Deion having a good time with.
Just the kind of a guy Deion is. He enjoys every minute of his experience, his unique experience. 3rd down 5 for the Falcons. No flag down. And Wilson completes it to Broussard, and Broussard is inside the 30 to the 27-yard line. Not Broussard, Keith Jones. Keith Jones was the man who caught the football. 14-yard pickup and another first down for Wilson and the Falcons.
Wade Wilson, every time Wade Wilson has come in the game, June Jones told us he's able to start a drive and take them right down to score. As you see Keith Jones making a nice run and then powering through the New England secondary for that extra yardage. Wade Wilson, an excellent pickup for this Atlanta Falcon football team. Had some Pro Bowl years up at Minnesota.
7th play of the drive now for Wilson and the Falcons. Inside the New England 30, Eric Pegram with the football. Pegram with the most active day of his early NFL career. And we remind you that next Sunday, NBC Sports presents more exciting NFL doubleheader football action, beginning at 12:30 Eastern with NFL Live. Then it's AFC East action. Most of you will see the New York Jets taking on Jim Kelly and the Bills, the team with the AFC's best record at 9-2, or the Colts tackle these same Patriots. And in the second half of our doubleheader, most of you will see a battle between two of the NFL's premier teams, Dan Marino and the Dolphins against Steve Young and the San Francisco 49ers. Check your local listings for the game in your area. Who's your choice at this moment, Ahmad, for NFL Player of the Year this year?
Deion Sanders. Anything else?
I kind of knew it. Pegram with the football again, and Eric Pegram has another gain of about 3 yards as the Falcons play with unaccustomed conservatism down the stretch of this game. Attendance here in the Georgia Dome, 54,494. All of them will go home and say good things tonight about Jerry Glanville and his team.
You either love him or you hate him, and today I think they love him. And one thing about Jerry, he pulls no punches at all. He brought June Jones down here from Detroit to run this red gun offense. June Jones is one of the fine offensive minds in professional football.
3rd down, 4 yards to go. Keith Jones with the ball, and Jones fights for first down yardage inside the 20, down close to the 15-yard line, and this should get us to the 2-minute warning. New England defenders with the tough task of trying to hold the Falcons out, but the game now irretrievably lost. It's 34-0 Atlanta. 2 minutes to go. We'll be back. As we bring you back to the Georgia Dome, it is time for the Hager Wrinkle-Free Cotton's super play of the game. Ahmad, what was the Hager Wrinkle-Free Cotton super play of the game?
It can be none other than this airborne interception by Deion Sanders, otherwise known as Prime Time.
A play we chose not for its effect on the outcome of the game, but rather for the sheer spectacle of the thing.
Just such athletic ability. Just a wonderful play.
Tough choice. Could have been the end zone tiptoe reception, I should say, for a touchdown by Drew Hill, or it could have been Deion's first interception when he outran a throwaway by Scott Zolak. Not so fast, Mr. Zolak. You won't be wasting that bomb out here. I'm going to run it down for the INT.
That was one of the more incredible plays I've seen when you see a quarterback obviously overthrowing the receiver, trying to throw the ball away, and Deion just turning on the speed and taking it in as if he was the receiver.
This is an opportunity mistake for me. On first down, the Falcons ran for a 1-yard loss. In fact, it was quarterback Wade Wilson simply falling on the football. So the Falcons want to administer no more misery to New England today. They're willing to let this clock run out and go home with their 34-0 victory over the Pats. Last Falcon shutout was 4 years ago, November 7, 1988, against Green Bay. Executive producer of NBC Sports, excuse me, is Terry O'Neill. Coordinating producer of NFL football is John Faratzis. Today's Patriots-Falcons game produced by Bill Bonnell, directed by Peter Bleckner, associate director Mike Cohen, production associate Bill Herbstman. And my thanks to the folks who helped us out here in the booth, statistician Rick Baker, spotters Kim Anderson, and Stacy James.
As we see Mike Ken there, there's a lot of children down on the sideline now.
Yeah, Mike has his daughter. Stay tuned as this game comes to a close for the Old Spice NFL Live postgame report from New York. Bob Costas bringing us scores and highlights of all the other games around the league, and that'll do it. Clock runs out. Neon Dion and the Falcons take a 34-zip shutout of Scott Zolak and the Patriots. The Patriot honeymoon with Zolak, the 2-game unbeaten streak, now comes to an end. And Zolak is eligible to recede now to his number 3 spot in the Patriot quarterback rotation as Hugh Millen prepares to come back from injury and take over the starting spot in all probability next week.
Well, Jimmy had a good run at it. He had a couple of good weeks, but I think this blitzing, attacking defense was a little bit too much for him today.
And you almost had a sense in meeting with the people from New England yesterday that they anticipated that might be the case. All right, once again, our final score was 34-0, favor of the Falcons over the Patriots. I'm Jim Lampley, along with Ahmad Rashad, saying so long from Atlanta, Georgia. We'll be joining Bob Costas, along with O.J. Simpson and Dan Hampton, for the Old Spice NFL Live postgame report right after this.
This, my friends, is the postgame show, proving by definition that all of you have stuck around to the end of this one. Proving one more thing. Either you are truly diehard fans or your remote control is malfunctioning. Falcons 34, Patriots nothing. Back with scores of closer games, plus highlights when the postgame show rolls on after this.
This is the Old Spice NFL Live postgame report, brought to you by Old Spice Fragrance and Deodorant.
With O.J. Simpson and Dan Hampton, Bob Costas back in New York. Let's run through the scores for you here, get you updated. The Saints are putting the finishing touches, apparently, on a hard-fought victory over the Dolphins. They lead 24-13, about 2.5 minutes to play in this one at the Superdome. And if the Saints hold on, they will be 9-3, and Miami's record will fall to 8-4. Miami will have lost 4 out of 6 after a 6-0 start, and the last half dozen have been played essentially without the great run-stuffing linebacker John Offerdahl, and his absence is sorely felt by Don Shula's team. So that's the way that one stands. Cleveland is in front at home over the floundering Bears, who apparently will lose their 5th consecutive game. Cleveland will snap a 2-game losing streak and even its record at 6-6. Late in the 4th quarter, it's 27-14 in favor of the Browns. Bernie Kosar back at quarterback from Mike Tomczak, the former Bear who had been starting with Kosar out with an injury. Not big numbers today for Bernie, but apparently guiding them to the win. Pittsburgh looking to take its record to 9-3 and win their 3rd in succession, closing in on the championship in the AFC Central and leading the Bengals in Cincinnati 21-9. This one is also in the 4th quarter. Barry Foster is already over 100 yards. At last check, 25 carries for 102 and a couple of touchdowns as Pittsburgh tries to win its 3rd straight. Washington had been looking for its offense. They found it today at home against Phoenix. This is a final 41-3. The Redskins over the Cardinals, so the Redskins end their 2-game losing skid. They are now 7-5. Phoenix has lost 3 in a row. They're 3 up and 9 down. You remember that earlier this year in Phoenix, with a couple of late interceptions in the 4th quarter, the Cardinals had upset the Redskins. Washington more than evens the issue here. Mark Rippon threw for a couple of touchdowns. Then Kerry Conklin came in and threw one to Art Monk for 10 yards just to put the finishing touches on it. 41-3 is the final score. Kansas City is on their way to their 4th consecutive victory. They will be 8-4, and they'll be tied overall in terms of the playoff standings with Miami. Both will be 8-4. Late in the 4th quarter, the Chiefs are in front of the Jets, 23-7 at the Meadowlands. In the game you folks watched, Atlanta goes to 5-7, New England to 2-10, and their modest 2-game winning streak is over. 34-0. It was 24-zip at the half, and the Falcons more or less cruise from that point on in. At County Stadium in Milwaukee, the Packers trying to even their record at 6-6, trying to win for the 4th time in their last 5 starts in a tough one in the Battle of the Bays, leading the Buccaneers 19-14 in the 4th quarter. O.J.
Well, the one thing I noticed today that jumps out at you is you got to watch the Washington Redskins. You know, they got a lot of their injured players back now, and they're beginning to look like the Super Bowl champs. And it's the team that's hot in the playoffs, Dan, that counts. Who gets hot then? And this team looks like it's rounding into a championship team again.
Right, not only Washington, but Pittsburgh is very impressive to me, especially here in the latter stages. They're a team that reminds me an awful lot of the '90 Giants. They've got a very opportunistic defense. They've got an offense that builds itself around a ground game. By the way, an ex-Razorback leads the league in rushing, by the way, Barry Foster.
That is correct, yeah. Having overtaken Emmitt Smith today.
And this team is a team that is still on the come. They're going to be very scary by the time the end of December gets here.
Let me take a look at Kansas City's situation, reaching for the handy schedule. So they beat the Jets today. assuming they're going to win it. They were up 23-7. So they take their record to 8-4. They've won 4 straight. It is not out of the question for them to close the season with an 8-game winning streak. And I'm not overrating them here. They have flaws and they can be beaten. But the remainder of their schedule, they're at the Raiders, a winnable game. They have New England at Kansas City. They're at the Giants, and the Giants are falling apart. And then Denver at Arrowhead, and we all know how bad the Broncos are on the road. I like Kansas City to win the AFC West.
Well, I don't think there's any question. The only team that really could put some pressure on them is San Diego, and we don't know an awful lot about them yet. But Kansas City is in the driver's seat. They've got to go, you know, they got to go brain dead to fall out of the car now.
I think Kansas City will win it. Once again, San Diego can put some pressure on them, but we're going to find out tonight how good they are because they play the Raiders, a team that has had a lot of success against them. But Kansas City should win it. I still think Kansas City's problem is they don't have a lot of imagination on offense, and in the playoffs, if they're going to have to go to Buffalo and play, they're going to find some tougher games to go to Buffalo. I think the Steelers have already beat them handedly in Pittsburgh, and they may have to go on the road to play those teams.
You know, Dan, there are few worse things to have happen than to go brain dead and fall out of the car. Well, that's a bad day.
I think Don Coryell did it one time, didn't it?
Unaware of that. Interesting inside the NFL tidbits. You know, I look at the Broncos. Here's a team with the top spot in the AFC West that nonetheless you don't like their chances against a 1-10 Seahawk team at the Kingdome minus Elway tomorrow night.
I think without John Elway, Denver is a mirage. They're a team that shows up. You can't count on them to do much except just get in the way. And
even with Elway, they're not a particularly good road team. Time for us to step aside, and we'll continue right after this.
This is the Old Spice NFL Live Postgame Report, brought to you by Old Spice Fragrance and Deodorant.
We continue. For those of you who saw the Patriots and the Falcons, and we say hello for those of you who saw Pittsburgh defeat Cincinnati 21-9. That is Barry Foster, folks, standing by on the sideline at Riverfront Stadium. Barry, Bob Costas and Dan Hampton and O.J. Simpson are also here. First of all, the victory takes your team to 9-3, and you move closer and closer to that championship in the AFC Central. It's been a great year.
Yeah, I mean, we've really worked hard for this, and it was a big win for us. It was a conference game, and we needed this win. Cincinnati really battled back, you know, throughout the game, but overall, we just took over the game and won it.
OJ, what's different for you this year? I know Joe Walton and you weren't like best friends last year, but you seem to come out of nowhere and you're leading the league in rushing.
Well, I just knew I could do it, and I wanted to prove to the organization and to my teammates that I was the type of back that I claimed to be when I was holding out, and I worked hard and they worked with me, so it's paying off.
Are you pretty much used in the fashion that you had hoped at this point under Bill Cowher? Obviously, you're the feature back. Is there anything more you could ask for?
Yeah, I mean, I'm happy with the rushing yards. I'd like to get a little bit more passes to me, but overall, I can't complain. I think it's working for this team, and I really don't want to, you know, rock the boat, but I would like to get some more passes.
What about the race with Emmitt Smith? Do you give that much thought to winning the overall individual rushing title?
Oh, yeah. I mean, any back would want that honor, and I keep up with Emmitt, and I'm pretty sure he's keeping up with me, and I got a lead on him today, so he's going to go out there next week and work hard to get away from me, but it's between me and him, and hopefully I can get it.
This is your 9th 100-yard rushing game of the season. I believe the Steelers in their whole history have only had 4 guys with 1,000-yard rushing seasons. Some of them have done it multiple times, but only 4 individuals. The great John Henry Johnson, Rocky Bleier, and of course Franco Harris. And today you broke Franco Harris's single-season Steeler rushing record. What does that mean to you?
It means a lot. I mean, when you say those names, you're talking about some great athletes, and they've standed throughout the time with their records, and I'm honored to be among those, and hopefully I can continue to do good things for this organization.
Barry, congratulations on another big day. Thanks for taking the time to be with us.
Thank you.
So Barry Foster rushes for 102 on 25 carries, 2 touchdowns. Pittsburgh wins 21-9.
All I can say is I think Barry Foster is a very deserving candidate to lead the league. He's a very effective runner between the tackles, a slasher, a guy that you won't shy off from arm tackles, and not only the fact that he's a former Razorback, but with Bill Clinton, they probably are the most notable Razorback duo in history now.
In history?
In history.
Nudging Frank Broyles from that once exalted spot on the all-time list.
Well, a lot of folks nudge every once in a while, but I just think Barry Foster is a guy that is still on the come. The Pittsburgh offense is built around him. We're going to watch him a lot here in the next month.
Yeah, you can see that they're still on the come. It's a young football team. I'm amazed at the job that Bill Cowher has done that. As a matter of fact, I'm amazed at the job that all the young coaches have done. You look at what Holmgren is doing up in Green Bay, and, of course, the job that's been done in Minnesota. But Cowher is doing as good a job as any coach in football right now.
Okay, highlights coming up on the other side of this commercial, but first, just the scores. This is now a final. The Saints are 9-3. The Dolphins fall to 8-4. 24-13 is the final at the Superdome. Cleveland and Chicago, late fourth quarter. Browns on their way to the victory, 27-14. The game some of you folks saw, as we said, the Steelers behind Barry Foster's 102-yard, two-touchdown performance take their record to 9-3. They beat the 4-8 Bengals, who have now lost 3 in a row, 21-9. Washington's offense comes alive, and they pulverize the Cardinals at RFK 41-3. Redskins 7-5. Phoenix 3 up and 9 down. And this was a tough defeat for Joe Bugle to absorb against the guy he used to work for, Joe Gibbs. Will McDonough was talking about it on the pregame show, thinking that Bugle's job kind of hangs in the balance depending upon what they do in the remainder of the season. Some games on the schedule they can win. They will have to start winning them if Bugle is to have job security. Kansas City and the Jets, very late fourth quarter, all but over. Chiefs will win it, fourth in a row. They'll take their record to 8-4. They're up 23-7. The game some of you folks saw, Atlanta romps to victory at the Georgia Dome over the Patriots, 34-0. And this one is now a final from County Stadium in Milwaukee. Green Bay evens its record at 6-6. They've won 3 in a row and 4 out of 5. They beat the Bucs today, 19-14. We'll come back, take a look at some highlights, run through some more scores, do whatever it takes to fill out the remaining time right after this.
This is the Old Spice NFL Live post-game report, brought to you by Old Spice Fragrance and Deodorant.
Most of the folks around the country saw the Dolphins and the Saints. We welcome that audience. Dan Hampton is here along with O.J. Simpson. Let's look at highlights of the Saints' 24-13 win over the Dolphins today. A victory that took the Saints to 9-3 and dropped Miami to 8-4. This is in the first quarter. Bobby Hebert will throw a perfect pass to Quinn Early along the right sideline. Outstretched grab, 32-yard pickup, set up a Dalton Hilliard 1-yard touchdown run to give them a 7-0 lead. It was tied at 7 at the half, because Marino threw his 21st touchdown pass of the year. That leads the NFL, at least for the time being, over Jim Kelly, who plays at Indianapolis a bit later. That one to Mark Duper tied it at 7. But here's a big play. Pat Swilling, rushing from the outside, slaps the ball away, and it's recovered by Goff, Robert Goff, the nose tackle, who takes it in for the touchdown from 28 yards out. That snapped to 10 all-time, made it 17-10. And here in the fourth quarter, Marino will overthrow Duper. Vince Buck will intercept the pass. Then he follows a host of Saint blockers, 34 yards for the touchdown. New Orleans with a 24-13 lead and a 24-13 victory. And let's turn to O.J. for a comment.
Well, Miami certainly has more problems than we originally thought. At the top of the show, we were talking about they were undefeated with Arfordal. Of course, he hasn't been playing lately. They haven't been winning that many games lately, but they got bigger problems than that. Their offensive line just is not getting the job done. Marino was sacked 5 times today. That's a record for Marino. That's 13 sacks in the last 3 games. Can't win with that.
Well, it's not only the offensive line, but this New Orleans defense is a bunch that you won't confuse with a bunch of guys drinking decaf. They're intense and they're relentless. And today, I think Dan Marino probably felt like Super Dave Osborne by the end of it. I mean, he was ragged and waiting for the end of it.
All right, we are waiting for the end of the Browns and the Bears, and so too are your former teammates, because they're about to lose their 5th in a row. They'll fall to 4-8. They're just running out the clock at this point. The Browns lead it 27-14. Pittsburgh and Cincinnati. Highlights from that game. The Bengals lose 21-9. They lose without Boomer Esiason, and this is pretty much going to be Boomer's role the rest of the season. They want to find out how the top pick David Klingler can do. They didn't do well on this fake punt early in the game. They tried to snap it to the up man, Eric Ball. It did not work. Charles Davenport picks up the fumble, goes 32 yards for the touchdown, and it's 7-0 Pittsburgh, and they're on their way. As we said earlier, a milestone for Barry Foster. He breaks Franco Harris's single-season Steeler rushing record on this 20-yard run, which gave him 1285 for the season. Foster didn't stop there. He gets this carry and rips off a 27-yard run to the Bengal 4-yard line. 2 plays later, he took it in from 2 yards out for a 14-3 Steeler lead. Foster later capped a great afternoon with his 2nd touchdown of the day, this 1-yard effort. He ends the day with another 100 yards plus, 102 to be exact, his 9th 100-yard rushing game of the season. He had 2 TDs as well. The Steelers led at that point 21-6. Defense all over Klingler today. We have him unofficially sacked a total of 10 times. Hardy Nickerson delivered that blow you just saw, and the Steelers win it to take their record to 9-3. Phoenix and Washington, a 41-3 win at RFK for the Redskins. Tim Rosenbaugh making his first start since being injured in Week 1. Would just as soon have missed it, I'm sure. Phoenix down 7-3. Brad Edwards picks him off, and he'll run it back 52 yards for the touchdown, and the Redskins begin the rout up 14-3. In the second quarter, Phoenix trailing 17-3. Rosenbaugh drills one to Ricky Prohl. He fumbles it. Wilbur Marshall recovers. He breaks a tackle, and then he will lateral to Alvoid Mays, who moves the ball to the Phoenix 33-yard line. All of this set up a Chip Lohmiller field goal and a 20-3 lead. There goes Alvoid. And eventually down he goes, as inevitably has to happen. Phoenix continues to struggle. Rosenbaugh's pass to John Jackson, intercepted at the 1-yard line by Todd Bowles. He runs it back 65 yards, and eventually they score on this drive on a 2-yard Ernest Biner TD. They go up 27-3. They win 41-3. Juice?
Well, I got to just comment on Joe Gibbs' job this year. He's done a great job. He's had a team that's had a lot of problems. They're coming off the Super Bowl. Teams can get a little fat going to all of those banquets during the offseason. He's kept them in contention despite all their problems. Ripien missing training camp. So many guys down. Now, Darrell Green is back. Lachey's back. I guess Jacoby's coming back. This team is going to be a team to reckon with in the playoffs. I think if they can go in the playoffs, these guys come back and stay healthy, they should be favored along with the 49ers and the Cowboys for going to the Super Bowl for the NFC.
But remember, contention in the NFC isn't the same thing as the AFC. You are really in trouble at 7-5 in the NFC. You're in good shape in the AFC. We're not in good shape unless we do this commercial. Producer's getting mad. We're gone.